What's going on, brothers? What's going on? It's your dude, Mr. International Passport, here again for yet another Future Classic live stream. Before this stream, we had a Moldova stream that went on for 4 hours. So if I sound a bit tired, water, I apologize, bro. I'm running on I'm running out of Duracell batteries, but I do have enough power to go on for another 2 hours at least, brother. Okay, so if I sound tired, brother, apologies, man. But I had a 4 hour stream, bro, before this, and that was a crazy stream, brother. So watch it in your free time, brother. Um, who's here? Press the one in the live chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Who is here? Who is here? We're back to Ethiopia. Let me know. How's my audio, Water? Is it good?
Yes, great.
Awesome, fantastic. So while we wait for some people to call in, or sorry, not call in, but wait for them to come in the chat. Special announcement, as you know, Python course coming at the end of this month. I'll be teaching every Sunday. IT is the best industry in this passport bro space. I'm in IT, Phil's in IT. Plenty of remote work to get you out there traveling all around the world. Ethiopia, Moldova, Japan, South Korea. I'll be teaching you Python, so join the Python course, go on the Patreon, check out the Ultimate Python course, January 2025 on Patreon, okay, to get in my classes. Aside from that, as you know, throughout tonight, if you can support the channel, hit a super chat, a PayPal donation, that'd be greatly appreciated. Aside from that, IT consultations, all right, so if you want any IT advice, IT guidance, book your IT consultations with me via the Candy link below in the description box below, okay? Aside from that, cop the merch, get a t-shirt, get a hoodie, show IP some love, man. Okay, I'm almost 10 years doing this, brothers, man. Almost 10 years of giving brothers intel. So any support will be greatly appreciated. And that's it from there, okay? So let's get straight into it, okay? As you can see here in the stream, we have a brother here called Water, who is married to an Ethiopian woman, okay? And we're going to ask questions around that marriage, being married to one, etc., etc. How you doing, Water? You good, bro?
I'm wonderful.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So, Mr. Water, let's go for introductions first, right? Tell me a bit about who you are, where you're from, and anything special about you, bro.
Well, I just turned 39. Let's start there. I'm actually a father of two. Thank you. I work in insurance. So when you said IT is like the best industry, I was kind of chuckling to myself because I love insurance. Insurance is what I do. Um, I am recently married. So my wife, who's Ethiopian, uh, me and her married in May of this year. So I'm from Texas, Houston to be exact. From your accent, I take it you're probably in the UK.
Mhm.
So I'm Texan by birth and by culture. So that may come into play a little bit later on.
Awesome, bro. I want to say congratulations on your marriage, brother. May it be successful, fruitful, and may you both be together forever. Awesome. Fantastic. So, brother,
You're a sweet talker.
what was that, bro?
I said I'm liking you already. You're a sweet talker.
Well, I like to wish people good, man. So it's just part of my nature. I always wish people good, especially brothers in this space, man. So I just hope the best for you, brother, in all areas of your life.
Yeah.
So, Water, first question, brother, is so how and where did you meet your Ethiopian wife, bro?
Oh man, this is going to be actually a very crazy story.
Mm.
Well, working in insurance, what I used to do, different from my current role, is I used to go out and work on catastrophic work like damages. So my job used to have me traveling approximately about 6 months out the year throughout the country with options to go to international places like Canada. And what I would do is I'd inspect homes, businesses, farms and ranches. For damages, I'd write the repair estimates, work with the contractors to get the person or the insured or the business owner back up and running after some pretty severe losses. When I say severe losses, in some cases, we're talking about like a tornado would hit a house. So In doing that and traveling all over the US, my work eventually took me to South Dakota. South Dakota is not a typical place that you'd expect to run into an Ethiopian. Um, Mainly Ethiopians in the US are found in Washington, D.C. There's a few here in Atlanta, there's few in Las Vegas, Nevada, and there is a pretty large community out in Los Angeles, California. But South Dakota is, I think the population is like 97% white. So it's not a place you would expect to find an Ethiopian, let alone an Ethiopian restaurant. So me, when I'm out on the road, I try to eat healthy. And so I plane landed from the Atlanta area, because at the time I was living in the Atlanta area. And first night there, I was like, I want to eat something healthy. I like to support Black-owned businesses. And I like Ethiopian food actually a lot. So I just by chance, I said, let me see if there's an Ethiopian restaurant here. Like, I doubt it, but let me see. And if it wasn't going to be an Ethiopian restaurant, much to my wife's chagrin here, it would have probably been a West African Nigerian restaurant. I like Nigerian food as well. So lo and behold, there was like 3 Ethiopian restaurants in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and one of them is called Hagari. And so I decided, oh, she's waving her finger at me. Don't be giving out the details. Okay, so so I meet I decided to go over there. And one of the reasons I also choose African restaurants is because when I'm doing my paperwork, they leave me alone. I can sit up there and do paperwork. They'll bring me coffee. They'll delay bringing them like out my meal if I ask them to. And so it's just a really chilled space to work remotely if you're trying to get your paperwork done after a day's long of inspecting places. So went to this Hagari place. First day I went there, she wasn't there. I met with one of the co-owners and had some great. The food was great. That helped. Okay, because if the food was trash, I wouldn't have came back, to be honest with you. And so then I was like, okay, this is I can see myself working out of this place, maybe tomorrow. So I went back literally the next day, and that's when my soon-to-be wife was working. She actually was managing the restaurant. And so I'm sitting down at the table, and she tells me I look Ethiopian, but I don't think I look Ethiopian at all. And yeah, no, I don't think so at all. But this is what she tells me. And so I'm sitting down at the table, and she decides she's gonna, wait the table. And she comes over there, and she was blushing slightly. And I was like, who is this young looking girl blushing at me? I'm here to work, I'm here to eat, I'm not looking for anybody. And so we hit it off with conversation, and she is surprised that I knew a lot about Ethiopian food, because a lot of Black Americans, and yes, to the audience, I am a Black American. I know I'm bright. To a lot of Black Americans, we're not known to eat anything outside of American food in the U.S. And when I say U.S., I mean like I've traveled literally throughout the country, like to almost all the states, all but 2. So I've been to 48 of them. And when I say I travel, and my wife has traveled with me quite a bit actually as well, I mean, like, I spend considerable time in these states. So I know the cultures, and, I could tell you about the traffic and where the good places to eat are. And so anyways, I'm digressing here. So long story short, to answer your question, I met her at a restaurant. She was managing the restaurant. I just happened to choose that restaurant, right place, right time, and she was ready.
Wow, incredible, brother. Where's she from in Ethiopia? Is she from Addis
What?
Ababa?
That's a great question. She is from Gondar, and she
Wow,
takes a lot of pride in that. A lot of pride in that. Because, and this is something I think your listeners should know. Gondar, the Gandaris, they're more traditional. That's where your historical kingdoms of Ethiopia are located, and like the castle, um, Facilis. She's giving me the thumbs up, so I pronounced her correctly. I told you she's not gonna leave me alone in this interview.
we need it on as well, man. It'll be better, but it's just shy. It's just shy. It's okay.
So she was actually mad at me for doing this. Just remind me later on. I'll tell you why. But so she's from Gondar. It's a place where the women are said to be much more traditional values. They're less westernized, and they're said to speak uh, some of the better or best Amharic out of that region because the people are more traditional.
Amazing, amazing, man. I tell you, you got a gem there, bro. Just traditional area, um, amazing, amazing, bro. You're a very lucky man. So, but I'm assuming that you asked for a number, or she asked for your number, and then you took on from there. Uh,
You have good questions. I got to give it to you. So let's speed up here. Okay, so the story's gonna get really crazy now. So here's what happened. My job sent me about 6.5 hours, maybe 7 hours across the state. So I ended up going to Deadwood, South Dakota. And I realize most people are not going to know where I'm talking about. It's a beautiful little western looking town. Like it looks like it belongs in an old John Wayne Western in the west of South Dakota. And it is very picturesque. It's in the Black Hills and all that stuff. Now, like I said, it's 6.5, 7 hours away. So the night before I was to go, me and her were talking, and she was asking me, she was curious, so she was asking me, what do I do for a living, and asking me more about myself and things of that nature. And I felt like, okay, I can see she's likely into me, and I'm much older than her. We'll probably talk about that later. And so, um, I did not know this, but she was planning on having me give her a ride, take her home. And so I didn't know it. Um, she was helping out some other patrons in the restaurant, and I had work to do. And so in the midst of the conversation, when the patrons had interrupted her, I was like, oh, this is my chance. I'm going to slip out. And that's what I did. I slipped out, and I went across the state, to the other side of the state. And I didn't know if I would see her again, because during the course of the conversation, she was saying she was, potentially thinking about working at some other place in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So that being said, something just told me on the way out, I had promised one of the agents a ladder. So, because whenever I fly in, since I'm inspecting places, I have to buy ladders. They're pretty expensive ladders, like maybe $350. And he asked me, hey, so if you flew here, what are you going to do with this 2-story ladder of yours? I said, I usually give it to the first person that asks me for it. He's like, can I have it? I'm like, sure. Now, I did not know that I would have to go all the way across the state, maybe like a week later. But I used it as an excuse to uh, go back in part, because I could have flown out of the airport in that local area, but I chose not to. I said, you know what? I feel like there's something there, um, between me and the my wife to be, and so I use that as an excuse and an extra impetus to go and crisscross back across the state to fulfill that promise that I made. And in doing so, I was hoping to run into her at the restaurant. So I did that. I went all the way back across the state, drove 7 hours, and with the hopes that I would run into her again, and also as a secondary thing, honestly secondary, to fulfill my promise to the agent to deliver the ladder. Just by chance, she was working that night. I didn't know her schedule or anything. She happened to be working, and that was the night that we went out. She was like, "Hey, you know, you don't mind, taking me home?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I took her home. Well, not really home, but we drove around. We kind of made it into like a date, like getting to know you type thing. So to answer your question, circle back around here, we eventually exchanged numbers. But if you're asking like who made the first move, that's kind of subjective, because I guess you could say I made maybe the first move by going back across the state. That was pretty ballsy. But her asking me to, technically a stranger, give her a ride after work, even though she definitely did have one, that was also kind of ballsy on her part.
Wow, incredible, bro, incredible. So let me ask this, right, brother. So how long did you date for before marriage? Was it a year? Was it 5 months, 6 months?
And I would say it was at least 2 years. Can you believe that?
Wow,
Yes.
incredible.
Yes.
So next question for you, brother, right, is so but tell me 5 things you like about Ethiopian women and your wife.
5 things I love about Ethiopian women.
And your wife, yeah. So basically the same question, but Ethiopian women and your wife, 5 things.
Well, now that I've gotten to know a lot more of them, one thing that I will definitely say I love about Ethiopian women, and in general, in the general sense, and I see also in my wife, very, very cultural. They adhere to their culture, and their culture is actually very, very strong. Um, it's not something that I was actually expecting. Um, so definitely the culture. Yeah, and if you want to piggyback off that, let me know. Okay. So number 2, natural beauty. My wife doesn't wear makeup, and this is controversial. She wears her own hair. I do.
Ah,
I love
classic.
that. I mean, look, no shade, but it's, there's something more, in my humble opinion, more beautiful, more sexy about a woman that's confident in her own skin. She wears her own hair, she doesn't put on makeup. My wife's nails, for instance, are probably, I'll have to do like, they're probably this long, natural. Um, just That's gonna bring me to the next thing. She's the most feminine woman I've ever dated, ever experienced. Um, yeah, I would say she's the most. Maybe my mom would give her a run for the money, but obviously I'm not dating my mom. But my mom came from a generation that the women were still very much so feminine. I understand that may be a hot take or may be controversial to say as well. Um, but just the femininity, I am amazed by it every day. Number four, she can cook, and most of these women know how to cook. And number five, and probably the most important for your listeners, I believe honestly in my heart of hearts, these women are raised to be wives and take care of their men.
Wow, incredible, brother. Let's expand more on number five. What do you mean by that? Do you get your wife? I'm guessing she does all that for you, taking care of you. Wifey. Tell me the wife traits that you get from your wife, brother.
Well, if I was here with my coworkers, I say, where a woman's place is? It's in the kitchen. I'm kidding.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So, what I mean to say is when this, in my experience and having been around the culture much more than than I ever thought I would be, they're very loyal. I know this may be crazy to say, and it may be a bit of a strange thing to say, but I come from a Western background, so I think it needs to be said that I don't really worry about my wife looking at other men. God forbid. Um, Never seen her doing that. Um, if I say I'm hungry, for instance, oh, I can cook something for you. I kid you not. It could be like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Oh, let me get up, make something for you. Aren't you? I'd say, baby, aren't you tired? No, no. Let me get up and cook for you. That sort of thing. Um, I used to think it was weird. She loves to give me massages. Um, just all around, um, very caring and in a very loving way, nurturing towards their man. This was the case while we were dating, and this is the case also while we've been married.
Wow, incredible, brother. Right, brother. So you said you were dating for 2 years. So, brother, what's your advice for men who want to get married to their foreign woman? So, brother, would you say like 2 years is enough to vet and be with someone, or 1 year or 6 months? Or is it not about the time? It's about the quality of time. Maybe 3 months is enough to get to know that person, then get married. What's your advice for men, brother? He want to get married, bro, in terms of how long you should be with a woman for?
Take my advice with a grain of salt. I've been married twice. However, there's some things that you have to learn the hard way. Uh, you know, can you really ever know someone?
Mm.
Can you really ever know someone? People change. We're fluctuating beings. I don't want to get all metaphysical here. The important thing I would say to look for is to find someone that clings to you, grows with you. Now, I know that might come across as strange, and this is obviously something I put a lot of thought into. However, I think that there's some things in a relationship us men tolerate that we shouldn't tolerate. Um, Disrespect, um, any sort of body shaming, belittling a man, ingratitude for what the man is bringing to the metaphorical table, things of that nature, and any prospective man looking to date a foreign woman, first and foremost, needs to approach it with that sort of mindset. And then, um, I would also say, me personally, I date cultures. So my first wife was actually Kenyan. I know this is, um, I know those are some other women that the passport movement is very fond of. Um, but I say all that to say, when you date someone, you date a culture that comes along with them. I'm from Texas. I tell my wife all the time, being from Houston, I'm mean. She tells me I'm mean sometimes, and I tell her that, it's a side effect of where I come from. Um, Her being from Ethiopia, she's very traditional. She's very proud. She comes from one of the most proud areas of Ethiopia. So I know that. And so that tells me up here that, you know what, maybe you should learn more about Ethiopia. Maybe you should value what she's telling you about the history, about the culture, about their norms. Um, so learning more about the perspective area where this international woman comes from, you got to do your homework.
Mm.
And
So
I
wait,
think, mhm.
mm. So you're
Go ahead.
saying too, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long you're with that person for. It's all about quality, because you can be dating someone for someone for 5 years, right? Get married and it doesn't work out, right? It happens. So and I think a lot of brothers that I speak to just tell me, hey IP, how long should I be dating someone before marriage? I'm telling someone that, listen, I've seen people who they've dated for 5 years, didn't even end up getting married, and that's 5 years being wasted if they were going towards marriage, or they were dating for 4 years and the marriage didn't work out, right? So I'm just thinking about, so time doesn't matter. How long you date someone doesn't matter, brother. It's how. So brother, so let me ask this right, brother. When did you believe it was time to put a ring on it? What was it? Was it a sign from God, or you felt it was just right, or did she fit your requirements? Okay, she does that, she does that, she does that, she does that. What were your requirements, brother, for you to actually wife her up?
Requirements to wife her up. Well, one, I'm Muslim, so we're going to get into this. And
Mm,
in my faith, it said it is better to marry than to burn. So for me, it was more of a religious duty that if you're interested in this woman and you are um, going out with her and spending time and effort on her, etc., then you need to do the right thing, put a ring on it. However, I want to preface that by saying that does not mean that any woman is necessarily deserving of your time. The man still does decide which woman is worth his time, his effort, his energies. Now, how do you judge that? To answer your other question, how do you know that this woman is worth that? Well, there's certain things, in my opinion, that I'm sure your listeners are probably like this. There's certain things that in other cultures are much easier to find that would be more wifely qualities. Does she have a strong moral compass? Is she religious? Does she value family? Does she prioritize you? Like, where do you fit in her life? When I met my wife, well, she's still a college student, but she's almost done now. But when I met my wife, she's a college student. I could easily be priority number two, three, four. She could easily put college ahead of me, her job ahead of me, her family ahead of me. But because I was someone that she was interested in, she put me as a very high priority in her life. I would say actually number two. I'd say number one for her is always going to be the Orthodox Church. Um, so that being said, we're do you fit in her priorities? The other thing I would say that let me kind of know, hey, this is wife material here is her. This is gonna be kind of package. What I mean by package is, does she have what you like? Here's the thing. Okay. If any of your listeners watch like Pop the Balloon or any of those other shows, you like what you like. All right. Everybody has something they like what they like. If you like a woman with a certain complexion or certain hair type or certain body figure, you probably should marry a woman that resembles those things. You like what you like. The reason is because I don't know about you, but I like almond joy. Almond joy is a candy. I don't know if you have it where you're at, and it has like little almonds in it with coconut and chocolate. Okay. You see, so if I'm married to someone that's reminiscent of a bag of Skittles, I'm gonna want to eventually taste the almond joy.
Facts.
You like what you like.
Preach. Preach.
I don't understand. Look, I'm all for settling down, but not necessarily for settling. So, you should try to find a wife, and the guys out there that has what you're looking for. If you like a woman with this dragging that wagon or has a donk on her, however you want to put it, you probably should pursue women like that, right? So that's another way that I knew. And just, she's religious. That's important to me. And so it's very important that those sort of things, even though we're different faiths, I see that there's no doubt in my mind, God is number one in her life. God is number one in my life. Now, the question sometimes I get is, well, how is it going to work? She's Orthodox Christian. You're Muslim. What is this all about? She has Muslims in her family. This is a great benefit to me because that means she understands Islam. She understands it. She has cousins that are Muslim, first cousins that are Muslim. So, my practicing my faith is not a surprise to her. She's very understanding of it, and she's actually very supportive of it.
Wow. Amazing, bro. But at that point that we mentioned about preferences, but I definitely agree. Because I know some brothers, right, who prefer Asian women, Japanese, South Korean, but they feel a duty to marry a black woman or be with a black woman. So they force themselves to, marry someone that is similar to them because their parents encourage it, blah blah blah. But they actually like another race of woman. And in my opinion, right, it's not gonna your marriage to someone that isn't your preference won't last long, man, because you're gonna actually indulge in who you actually like. Let's keep it real. Like you're gonna sometime in the future, right? You may this is crazy to say, right? But you may cheat, or you may tell your wife, "Hey, I want to marry another woman. She might be Asian. She'll be Asian." Just go for who you want to go for, right? Because you like who you like, right? Preferences in a woman, and I think that's something that we have to accept. You can't, like, I get that black. Okay, cool. Similar culture, but if you don't like black women, right? If you don't like BWs, American black women, if you prefer African women, if you prefer East Asian women, go for who you like. Ain't that right, bro?
Man, one of the things I think Black Americans sleep on, for instance, is African women. I do not know why that is, but look, I was raised, and I can say this because both my parents have passed away. So I was raised in a household where I better not bring anything home but a Black woman. And if I did, I was a person not welcome. So, that being said, did that influence me growing up? Absolutely. Did it influence my mate selection? Absolutely. But does it mean that I did not date other types of women? Of course, it doesn't mean that I didn't date other types of women. I still dated. I went out with a white woman. I went out with an Asian woman. To be honest with you, I always, this may be a bit of a hot take. What I also would encourage guys to do is invest time, invest your hard earned money and your time, which is fleeting, in someone that gives you their time and their energy. I can't stress that enough. Like, otherwise, I mean, what are we doing here? You have
Hmm.
a lot of young men out there that are wasting time with women that are only half-heartedly interested, or they feel like they're settling for you or whatnot. Go for who goes for you. I can't stress that enough. Um, Another thing I would say is there's a lot of high quality women in Africa. Seriously. I will preface that by saying, remember, us guys, we're dating a culture too. So when you're dating, say on the continent of Africa, you're also dating or marrying into a particular culture and way of doing things and norms and things of that nature. So pick wisely.
Wow, incredible, brother, incredible. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, tell me five things you don't like about Ethiopian women. Now, if you don't want to answer it, we can skip it. But uh, that you've noticed.
Well, maybe she's asleep right now. She rolled over on the other side. So 5 things. I can't really name five probably, but I would say, well, and this may come across offensive to anybody that's Ethiopian listening. I think that their culture sometimes can be very secretive. I've told her this, and she does not necessarily disagree with this at all. You know, I mentioned this earlier, so we'll circle back to it now. She didn't want me to do this interview because, to be honest, I'm sorry for the guys out there that like Ethiopian women. Um, she doesn't want the added attention on Ethiopian women. So, guys, cool your jets. Don't fawn over her because she's Ethiopian or fetishize her because she's Ethiopian. Yes, they are gorgeous women. Yes, they are the embodiment, a lot of them, of wife material. And yes, they have an amazing and wonderful culture. But at the same time, do realize that they tend to stick in their community. It's not a dig at who you are or where you come from or your skin tone or anything of that nature. It's none of that stuff because they come in all different shades themselves, by the way. Um, However, um, just realize their culture, in my opinion, and I'm sure if my wife was wanting to disagree, she'd disagree with me now, but it's very secretive in nature. And I think it's purposefully like that. They like to keep things under wrap. They're very insular. They don't play well with other Africans. For instance, my wife knows very little about Kenya, even though Kenya is her neighbor. Um, they don't know a lot about other African countries necessarily. They kind of they're kind of very into themselves, but not in a stuck up kind of ways. I don't mean that in a stuck up way. I mean, they just kind of keep to themselves. That's the best way to say that.
Interesting, bro. Okay, so carry on, brother.
I was trying to think of a second one. Oh, I got one for you.
Mm.
So you guys that like spice, you like spice in your relationship. These women have mouths on them. It's not like Black American women. No offense to any sisters, but it's a different way of giving you an attitude. One thing I'll also say that attracted me to my wife, very smartest woman I've ever dated. She might be smarter than me, but yeah, you know, one of the things I'll say is she's very opinionated, and from what I've seen, they're not scared to let you know exactly how they feel. They do it in a very feminine way, but they can be kind of fiery. It reminds me of almost how Hispanic women are said to have like that little flair, that little spice to them. It reminds me a lot of that. So if the gents out there are looking for women that are like doormats or completely subservient, they will just shut up and cook you a meal and, you know, roll over and give you, you know, some action. That's, I don't think that, that's going to be something you're necessarily going to find 100% of the time with Ethiopian women.
Wow, amazing. Is your wife there right now?
Yeah, she's listening, but she's rolled over and I think she's taking a nap.
Okay, brother. So, brother, to extend to that question, are those things you don't like in your wife? Are there things that you currently don't like in your wife? Or those two things apply to her?
I love my wife and I love everything that comes with her, to be very honest, even her fieriness. I'm sure everybody's kind of familiar with the concept of women liking toxic men. There's some women that like toxic, not all, but there's some women that like the drama, they like the toxicity, they like that kind of stuff. They feed off of that stuff. Okay, so just like there's women that like that extreme of toxicity in a relationship, and they're like that extreme of having a lot of drama in their relationship, there is also men that like a woman that has a little bit of fieriness or pepper to her, and that would be me. I like a woman that I just can't, because I have a very dominating personality and I'm very assertive. And I'm not easy to argue with because I originally, before I got way too far along in my current occupation, I was going to go to law school. So I even took like law school accredited courses and things of that nature, as well as I have a pretty heavy background in just in my current line of work. I deal with attorneys. I mean, I get sued quite regularly, and have to go to and do depositions and things of that nature. So I'm a very logical person. So for me, I like that just fine. I'm speaking generally. Like a lot of men, I'm going to do a stereotype here. A lot of men like Asian women because Asian women are said to be very quiet and submissive. My wife is submissive, but she's not necessarily going to be quiet about it. If she doesn't agree, she's going to let you know. It's going to be in a very, very feminine way. But, some men don't like that. That's not for every guy.
Wow, amazing breakdown, brother. So, brother, the age gap between you and your wife, right? So you're 39 and you met her 2 years ago, right? I'm assuming
2022, but I mean, we just got into 2025.
Okay. How old was she then when you were 37?
She's 21.
Wow. Yeah. Cat. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, guys.
All right, so this is a good segue into that. Guys that like age gaps. There is actually a trend for this. She showed me this herself um, on Instagram and TikTok, and I forgive me. I don't really. I told you how old I am, so I missed the bandwagon into Instagram. And we were actually just talking about it today. When I first saw Instagram, I was like, why would people want to share photos? This is when it first came out. Why would I want to share photos and do all these filters? This is stupid. Now, Instagram at that time was not like the video sharing behemoth that it has become. So I was a late adopter of Instagram, and I actually did not adopt my Instagram until not too long, maybe after I met her or right before meeting her, perhaps. But I digress. So, shoot, I lost my train of thought, my man.
Age gap between you
Oh.
and your. Yep.
So there is a trend apparently on Instagram that she showed me that it highlights that Ethiopians are known to do age gaps. The listeners are probably like this. Um, Her mom and her dad have literally the same age gap as me and her have. Her sister, for instance, has an age gap with her husband, I think, of at least 10 years. Like, this is a very common thing culturally. So for the guys out there that may be a concern, that's that's a very positive thing for us men. Because men, we're late bloomers. We don't really come into being that commanding presence when we want us to be and are looking for. To usually we're in our late 20s to somewhere in that ballpark.
What the hell's that noise? Are you moving around, bro?
No,
Okay, no, now it's gone. So, brother, something happened there. Awesome, brother. That's what I want to hear. I want to see 60-year-old dudes, 50-year-old dudes with women that are 24, 22, 21. I don't care how anyone feels about that, because that's how it should be. Because men, it's a long time for men to build their value and their wealth and their worth. Women are born with value. A woman's best years, in my opinion, 19 to 24, 25, that's their peak years. And that at those years, they should be getting married, actually, because the looks go. And it gets hard for them to bear children as time goes on. Whereas for men, that's not happening in a very, very long time, right? So if women are smart, right, they will look for an older man, 10 years older, 5 years older, and lock him down. Because it gets pretty hard for women later on down the line. Every day, women turn 21. Every day, women turn 20, and they were taken up. The average guy will pick a 20-year-old chick over a woman that's 35, that's a CEO of Google or Amazon. Let's keep it real. We don't care about your money, about your job. We care about, can you bear kids? Are you feminine? Can you cook? Are you cooperative? And I don't care how that sounds to you feminists and to you liberal weak boys. Okay? I don't give a damn. Because the world is changing now. A lot of men are tired. We're waking up. And that's why this possible movement is getting bigger by the day and every night. Awesome stream so far, brother.
thank you.
But let me ask. So let me ask this, right? So the age gap stuff, right? So she definitely wanted an older man, right? From what you could tell, from what you observed, right?
Yeah, so the American men over here, they dropped the ball. Sorry if there's any guys offended by this. I don't mean to offend anybody, but we are in because people that come from Ethiopia, they're typically exposed to things and raised in a certain way where they mature faster. I don't really detect any immaturity with my wife, to be honest with you. Um, I can't say that about other cultures. I've dated a Nigerian woman for 4.5 years. Um, My ex-wife, I was married to her for 13 years, 13. And, the thing is uh the American men, us, and I don't know if this is a thing in the rest of the Western world. We're slower to mature up here. The women mature far faster. And so, she's a college student. She could have been talking to a guy in college, you know, but a lot of them just weren't mature enough. They don't necessarily have solid plans, or they're into a bunch of nonsense, or they're walking around with their pants falling off of them and trying to figure out, look, I told you I'm an older guy, so I'm just gonna be straight with you. And that may be cute, if you're looking for a girl maybe your age, or she's kind of silly herself, you know. I'm sure, if you watch any dating shows, you can see who those women are. But those women typically are not wife material. And, if you're looking for a woman that's wife material, I think we all could agree she's going to be at a certain maturity level, and she would probably meet the definition of a mature person to even qualify to be in the category of wife material. If you're looking to wife a woman and you think she's wife material and she's immature, give me a break. What are we talking about here?
Facts, absolute facts, brother. So next question for you, brother, is so, brother, can you confirm now? Obviously, your wife likes you, you're a Black American man, but from what your wife tells you, from what you heard from your wife's side, right? Does the average Ethiopian woman like Western Black men, Black American men, Black British men, Black Canadian men?
I knew this question was coming. I should have known. Oh man. That's a hard question to answer, my friend. They like who they like. I've actually, the funny thing is, my wife says I'm a good looking guy. I think I'm okay. Okay. But I was, I remember I came to the Atlanta area once to work in 2018. And so once again, I told you I like to support Black owned businesses. So one of the places I went to was an Ethiopian restaurant once again. And so I recall I came in there, I was dressed nicely, and came in there to do my work. And so for you IT guys, good tip for y'all would be try to meet a young lady that you're interested in an Ethiopian restaurant. But please, just, it's injera. It's easy to pronounce. And the word is Amharic. Both of those are easy to pronounce. I can't tell you how many guys I've seen, they're interested in Ethiopian women, but they mispronounce like the most basic words. But anyways, I'm digressing. So go to this restaurant, and on my way out, I kid you not, the waitress blocked the door. She's like, "Where are you going?" Now, I told y'all earlier, I'm Muslim, so I was actually going to pray. And she was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, I gotta go. Why? Where are you going? And I was like, yeah, I gotta step out. And she's just trying to shoot a conversation with me because she knew I was not from the area. And she said, I want to show you around. We know what that means. But I declined, and I got to go do my prayer. So I went to go do my prayer, and I didn't go back to that place for years after that. And I'm not saying she was a bad looking lady or anything like that. She's actually not a bad looking woman at all. Hope my wife is asleep. But at the same time, to answer your question, They like who they like, just like any other woman likes what they like. And I think us guys make the mistake of, I make this much money, I'm this tall, I'm this muscular, I do this for a living, I'm a doctor, I'm a surgeon, I'm an architect, a lawyer, whatever the case may be. But the truth is, women are fickle. They just like who they like. It's a culmination of things. And what we can do to improve our odds as men is we can try to increase our odds by approaching them at the right place, the right time, the right preparation, and with the right bag, the right bank account. I don't want to fudge anything. Is money going to get every woman? Absolutely not. Does it help? It's like the age-old question: does money buy happiness? No, I mean, I can't go to a store and buy happiness, but I can guarantee you, I can show you what you can buy to become happy. It just kind of depends. So do I think that there's some Ethiopian women that do not like Black American men, that don't like Black Brits, and other like West Africans, South Africans, etc.? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you have a considerable number of them that want to date and marry within their culture. However, there's also a considerable number of Ethiopians and Eritreans that are on the boat of, ew, Ethiopian men look like my brother, I don't want to marry my brother. Or I want to get out of the culture, it's too smothering. Their culture is very smothering to them. Like, for instance, I love Washington, D.C. And when my soon-to-be wife at the time and I were dating, and the subject of me wanting to move to potentially DC came up, she was like, oh, I'd never move to DC. Because anything you do as an Ethiopian basically floats around the community like wildfire. No pun intended for the things going on in California. Thoughts and prayers out to the people. So, yeah, however, guys, you got to increase your odds. Don't go to a woman that's from Ethiopia unless she likes these things, which should be a red flag to you in the first place if you're looking for a wife, with your pants falling off your butt.
Mhm.
Be respectful.
Wow.
Know a little bit about her culture. Come correct. Just think about it. You got to put yourself in the other person's shoes. I mean, if a woman came up to you and she smelled like fish, you're going to probably say she doesn't have good hygiene. So if you come at a woman and you smell like onions, or that you don't use deodorant, for my West African guys out there, y'all do have their reputation. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. Hey, and we have the reputation for wearing our pants falling off our butts. Come on now, I'm just being honest here. As Black Americans, we have that reputation. So, I'm gonna put everybody on blast because we all have things that we can clean up to increase our odds, and that's what this is about. I'm sitting up here, I'm taking my time out against my wife's wishes to better our chances as men and increasing our odds in landing that wife that we all should want.
Facts, bro. So next question for you, brother, right, is so how does her family feel towards you and Black Americans? Because I've heard these things about Ethiopians where, and I'm not saying all do it or all of them like that, but they look down on people who are not Ethiopian, other African people, Black Americans, Black British. So how does her family feel towards you and Black Americans? Have you felt some sort of like, have they said something shady towards you and your culture, Black American culture? Because Black American culture is unique, and we have to admit that. So yeah, how does a family feel towards you and Black Americans?
Wow, what a question. If I lose myself in this, please let's circle back to that.
Mm,
Let's get it out the way first. Okay, so her mom and her dad um, are fine with me. Her mom and her dad are kind of different in general. I would say, for instance, she called her mom and her dad by their first names, which I find very strange, but they're just kind of laid back. This depends on the parents. Um, Ethiopians, the reason that they look like they do is because they do put a lot of impetus or emphasis actually on one's physical appearance. There's a concept, and please, uh, for those that are listening, I'm Black American. Both of my parents are Black. I don't have, you know, a parent that's like white, or even my grandparents, you know, both sides essentially are Black. Okay. I don't have even a white grandparent. I'm just bright in complexion. There is mixture down there. Um, but it's way away, and it's a whole other story. So it's said that Latinos, and the reason I spoke about my racial construction is because I don't want people to think I'm Latino. Um, Latinos have this concept of bettering la raza, bettering the race, and one of the ways that this is expressed is via mating with someone that's attractive to create attractive offspring, bettering la raza or the race. Okay. So Ethiopians have this. I'm thinking my wife sleeps, so I'm just speak frankly here. They have this. You can see it, guys. Just go down to the comments. One of the things that they say about West African men, for instance, and this is, I'm sorry if this offends anyone, is one of the things the Ethiopian men say when they see their women being scooped by Nigerian women is, "Oh, you just. I know I'm not supposed to curse. So I'm not going to curse. You just effed up your genes." Really? That's what we're doing here. There's that undercurrent in their culture. I don't want anybody listening to think that that's not a thing. It's there. If you see comments like that, that's what that's stemming from. They put a lot of emphasis, I think, with their ethnicity, within their ethnicity, and within their culture, on their appearance, and having that pride, and taking that pride and having attractive children, and keeping their ethnic group looking like it does. So that's a thing. And so to answer that question, if you're an attractive guy, if you're a Chad, as we say over here in the States, guys, you're not gonna have a problem with anybody, black, white, Asian, Pakistani. Heck, I've been hit on by Pakistani women, for God's sake. Um, and I said I've been hit on. I don't usually approach anybody. If you're an attractive guy, and uh, I would say you're going to get hit on. And I don't even consider myself that attractive. I think I'm just okay. But if you're one of these guys that, you just walk around and women break their necks for, you're not going to have a problem. You will find you an Ethiopian woman. If you're an average looking guy, once again, got to come correct. What are you doing to stand out from the herd? What are you doing to stand out from the herd?
Wow. Wow. Thanks for your honesty there, bro. So next question for you, bro, is how does your family feel towards her and Ethiopians?
Well, um, My family is very welcoming. When she's black, she doesn't really look it. You've seen a picture of my wife. Um, for instance, when we go out, I remember when she was visiting me here in the Atlanta area, I put her up in a Marriott Autograph Hotel. It's a pretty fancy place. And I remember um, that the guy that was doing the valet was, I think he's from Afghanistan. And so he was fawning over my fiance. I think, no, were we engaged? Yeah, I think we're engaged at that time. He's fawning over my fiance, now my wife, um, in a way that if he wasn't Muslim, we might have had some problems. But I give him some grace there because yeah, he thought she was maybe one from his region. So he's trying to figure out what she is. Guys, if you're an insecure type of individual, I should say this may be something that I should have added earlier when you were saying things about Ethiopians that you may not like. Men are gonna fawn over these women. If you got you one of the ones that's very nice looking, um, and that's almost the case for any nice looking woman, but it's going to be especially worse because some of these women from Ethiopia, to be honest with you, people don't know where the heck they're from. My wife is constantly mistaken for like Indian or Arab. Or I remember we went to this doctor's office. They put her, and you've seen her picture. She's darker than me. They put her as white, and I'm like, what? She's definitely not, doesn't appear to be white, but they think that she's probably Arab. Um, and her hair doesn't help because she has that long curly hair. It's all down her back and stuff like that. So, if you're, a guy that's insecure about that sort of thing, maybe you should get you a woman that doesn't stick out like that. Uh, don't get you a Ferrari if you don't want people, eyeing your car and paying you inordinate amounts of attention. Go get you a Bentley. It's a little bit more subdued. It's still luxurious and it'll still give you a nice ride. But digressing. Um, so, um, to answer your question, my family is taken to her very, very well. She's very respectful to them. They're very good around family because Ethiopians have very strong family structures, very, very strong family structures. And that being said, my family is really taken quite well to her, and they have a healthy curiosity for culture. Matter of fact, I have a cousin of mine that's wanted to go over there with me this year, and he's actually an ex NFL football player, and he's very, very interested in finding him an Ethiopian wife. Although I'm a little bit nervous because he's also said that he's a connoisseur of women, and I'm like, dude, these are wife women. Don't mess them up, Um, but my wife said, for instance, if he's serious, and keep in mind, this cousin of mine, like I said, he's a former pro football player. He lives in Spain. So, and I know he's very well to do. That doesn't matter. So these are not the kind of women you can necessarily, I'm not saying all of them, but from what I've observed, leading you with your wallet with these women, no. So that I would, no, that's not going to be the magic formula. When I say coming correct, don't factor that in with these. I'm not saying all
So
of them.
so let me ask this, brother. Right. So from what your wife wants in a man, and from what you've observed from what your wife's friends wants in a man, what kind of attributes or traits does the average Ethiopian woman want in a man? I'm assuming, brother, that number one is they gotta be religious or either Christian or Muslim, have some sort of religion. And what about the other factors, brother? That's
Like,
important.
oof, that's a great question. Got to be religious. And when I say religious, this is gonna maybe irk some of the listeners. So, hmm, Protestants, okay. I don't mean to offend anybody, but remember, these women are Orthodox. They don't necessarily consider Protestants Christians. So when I met my wife, one of the very early on questions she asked me, we weren't even like dating. She said, like, what's your religion? I'm like, what? Who asked that? Starting out the gates like this, we're not even dating. We're just getting to know each other. We're friends at that time. And so, all I knew is, she's this woman that works in South Dakota. I came back to Georgia and I was like, she's cool. I'll talk to her, but I'm not, I don't know whether I should invest too much time in this because it's a long distance relationship, number one. And number two, um, she's much younger than me. So I'm still thinking Western, right? So, anyways, I told her, for instance, I'm Muslim. Oh, she's like, oh, thank God. I'm like, what? You're Orthodox Christian. How are you happy that I'm Muslim? She's like, well, as long as you're not Protestant. Blew my mind. And apparently, I'm trying to put you guys on game. There are Ethiopian Protestants, but there's a lot of in their community. There's a subcurrent of anti-Protestantism. So just kind of be aware of that, guys. Kind of be aware of that. Catholics are okay, so but there's I need to put y'all in game so y'all not wasting your hard-earned time. I'm hard-earned money and your time. I can't stress that enough. I This would not be a helpful exercise if I was not trying to give y'all advanced analytics here. So um, the other the other thing, hmm, I lost my train of thought again. I'm getting old.
Traits they want in a man.
Oh. So the other thing is they want you to definitely be masculine. One of the things I thought was very strange was so I work out. I work now. I work behind a desk. She doesn't think that that's sexy. So one of the things she liked is that I work in a job with my hands that I sweat. Like what? That's like the opposite of what you should like. Because she thought that was pretty manly. Now, am I saying that all of them are like that? No, because I can think of plenty of Ethiopians that go into um, IT, for instance, and they're software engineers and stuff, and they're still bagging dimes. Okay, so um, there's there's a lot of Ethiopians. Okay, and there's a lot of different flavors out there for guys that are willing to get up there and go out there. And one of the things I wanted to say also earlier is so like my cousin um, that wants to go over there with us this year. My wife was like, "Yeah, we can help him find a wife if he's serious. If he's serious, and he's Protestant, by the way." So I want to put that out there. So, but I say all that to say, I was like, "Well, how you gonna find him a wife? You don't live over there." And you haven't lived over there for at least, I don't know, 5 6 years. So how you gonna find him a wife? um her mom would play like matchmaker and go try to find potential brides to be for him. So, there's that. There's an element of still kind of arranging things. I'm not going to say it's an arranged marriage or anything like that, but that does kind of exist over there for you guys that are going over there. There's people that can help you. All right. Um, Now, other things that they find attractive in a man: provider, protector. Come on now. You know these. Um, and when it's presentable to their parents, I mean, let's be honest here. Can she take you home?
Amazing. Amazing breakdown, bro. So next question for you, bro, is now, brother, tell me, brother, is your wife Christian or is she Muslim?
Orthodox Christian, Ethiopian Orthodox.
Okay, and you can marry women who are not Christian in your religion, right?
I can.
Okay. Will she have to end up converting to Islam and your
No.
kids as well? Okay, awesome. What about your kids? Did they get to choose what religion they want to go into? Either Christian or Islam? Or
we've talked about it. We're going to raise them both. If they have a duty to raise them as Muslims, and I understand that she also has a duty to raise them in her faith. So that's something that there will have to be, I guess you could say it's a compromise or an arrangement. It would be a better expression. That's a very great question. That's an advanced analytics type question right there. We've talked about children. We've talked about raising them, obviously. We talked about this while we were engaged, and now we're married. So, we actually talked about it today, actually. That's a very solid question.
So they'll be raised both Muslims and Christians, and when they're older, they'll choose what religion they want to go full time into.
Yeah, because it's said in Islam, there's no compulsion in religion. So this is me talking. I understand there's going to be other people that say otherwise. But you want to equip your children with the tools that they can at least have an understanding of Islam for us Muslims. And she's going to want to equip them with the tools so they at least have an understanding of the Orthodox Tewahedo Church, which is the Ethiopian Orthodox Church in English. But, we both want to fulfill our duties, and we're both very religious people. Matter of fact, she didn't have a driver's license. I tried to teach her to drive, actually. But she's perfectly happy being a passenger princess. And she's perfectly happy to rely completely on her man. She works. She didn't have to work. She works. But it's a remote job. And she's, guys, I'm telling you stuff without telling you stuff here. How many Western women do you know that would be perfectly happy to rely on their man? In all seriousness.
Not a lot, bro.
Oh, there's a lot of them. You get into an argument with them, and they may not have a license. You give it a month or two, she'll have her license, and she'll fire up the car and be at a bar or be gone.
Damn.
Tell me I'm capping, please. There's a level of dedication with these particular women that I've observed that you do not find in a lot of Western women. This is not a dig at Western women. There's men out there that are predispositioned, raised, and have ways that acquiesce with Western women. But for me, I was listening to songs that were from the 1990s earlier, And I was like, golly, we got a lot of stuff right in the 1990s when we sang about love. You turn on the songs nowadays that are love songs, and it's just like, man, this is trash. What are they singing about here? So, I come from a much more romantic and traditional generation. I'm not saying it's the most romantic or most traditional or anything like that, but it's going to predisposition me to seek women that acquiesce with that.
Facts, bro. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, any cultural similarities between your culture, Black American culture, and Muslim culture, with her culture, Ethiopian and Christian culture? Any similarities from your culture and her culture?
So, when you say Black American culture, you mean the master culture? Here's the thing. Gosh, this is going to be maybe a hot take, especially if there's anybody from Africa listening, especially if you're from Nigeria. Black culture is the culture. And when I mean that, I don't mean to say it's the only culture. I'm not saying that, but it's the culture that can almost get you in the door anywhere in the world. It's almost like it's a passport. Say what you will, but last I checked, Black men, for better or for worse, have a reputation almost on pretty much every corner of the planet. Somebody knows something about Black culture, good or bad. And so that breeds from there familiarity. It breeds familiarity. And that familiarity then in turn breeds comfort. And because of that, it opens doors for you. And that's what I mean when I say it's like a passport in a way, in and of itself, because people will feel like they can relate to you. I saw, before this interview, my wife was on Instagram, and she was showing me videos like she likes to do. And she was showing a video of a guy that was in France. He had braids, a light-skinned guy. And, the French guy was like, "Oh, I love your hair. And do you play basketball?" There's nothing indicating this brother, number one, played basketball, and two, wanted to be approached about his hair being nice by another man. So if y'all see that video out there, it's a light-skinned guy, has braids, and you'll see that, and so on and so forth. So anyway, because people kind of feel like they know us, they can approach us. We're maybe a little bit easier perhaps to talk to. If I was talking to someone from a completely alien culture, where, there are a bunch of, sorry for the reference here, a bunch of cannibals, for instance, I'm going to tread carefully, right? Or it's like if I were to go to Afghanistan, I know all my beliefs do not necessarily align with the Taliban. So the educated traveler should know, be careful what you say. You're going to be on your toes about it, because you may say the wrong thing and you're off to jail or worse. So you got to be careful what you say. So similarities with Black culture, right? She may know more about Black culture than I do. And she's from Ethiopia and grew up there. We were literally, like I said, looking at, it was actually TikTok videos together earlier, and there were songs playing in the 90s. She was not born in the 90s, my friend. And she was like, "Oh, I know this song. I know that song. I know this song." I'm like, what? These songs are well before your time. And they're not in your mother tongue. but you know all of them. She had more pairs of Jordans than I did. All right. It's like I said, it's like an opening. It's like a passport. This puts Black Americans at a somewhat disadvantage for women that are interested in that, and it's going to put us at a bit of an advantage because a lot of people like Black culture. It's good and it's bad. So, um, I'll give you another example. This one probably be a little bit funny. So I have this thing like I like to uh, we have a little bit of a friendly banter, and this is going to answer that other question that you asked. Like, does she have problems with anything? Do we have issues? No, we get along like I don't know. It's just it. There's not any incompatibilities really between our cultures that are just abhorrent or stick out for that matter. But we still have things that, for instance, I don't believe when I had met her, and please don't laugh. I don't believe when I met her she had ever eaten fried chicken, and so don't laugh. And so Black Americans have this thing where we like to eat fried chicken. It's true, and we like to have a strawberry soda on the side, and yeah, see, we're gonna go here, right? So it is what it is, right? So, you know, so um, I took her to like I think it was Popeyes or KFC, and
Mm.
I know,
Look at
right?
you, bro.
I know. Never been to either of those. Can you believe that? So
Popeyes, huh?
yeah, and so you reminded me of some things, by the way, that I would like to circle back to, but so the the thing is I took her to this place and she added in, oh, so you're gonna go get me some fried chicken and some watermelon, and
Wow.
it
How did
gave
she
me
know that? Jesus. How did she know that, bro? That's a stereotype, bro. How did she even know that?
what else do you, so it's funny you say that because man, that you caught my point exactly. You watch Black Hollywood movies. Friday After Next, the Tyler Perry suite, all those Tyler Perry movies. It carries Black culture. This helps if you're inundated with music videos and you're inundated with Black Hollywood projects. You're inundated with the music itself and urban wear and other types of clothing that we're known to wear. You're acclimating to our culture, whether you realize it or not. This is why I said that, the master culture is the Black culture, because out of you can say what you want to about America. The military in America is perhaps the strongest in the world. I said perhaps. I don't know. I think China could probably definitely give us a run for our money or even defeat us. But um, outside of that, though, where America, there's a saying by Sun Tzu, the victorious warrior wins first and then goes to war. It comes from Sun Tzu's Art of War. And so one of the ways America wins first and then goes to war without firing a shot, Black culture. Golly, Black culture just goes right across the airwaves. It goes right across the internet. And the next thing you know, the 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 locals are won over on American ideals. They're thinking about freedom. They're thinking about blue jeans. They're thinking about not rock music anymore, like they said in the Cold War. They're thinking about rap music and liberal feminist ideals and things of that nature. They see sexy red on the screen twerking. Why can't I twerk? This is how cultures are ultimately maybe ruined or um, destroyed by, you know, Western institutions, but I digress. I just thought you would probably find that funny. We don't really have any areas where culturally we don't mesh. I'm a pretty open guy. For those guys that are like, um, for instance, a lot of Nigerian guys, they are very proud Nigerians, and I definitely understand that. And shout out to y'all, and you have plenty of reasons to be proud. And shout out to Afro Beats while I'm at it. But um,
Let me
guys,
ask.
mhm.
So go on. So say your last point, bro.
Yeah, guys. You know, the thing is um, the the women that y'all are pursuing must your culture must land on fertile grounds. Don't browbeat your culture onto them. If it's not a fertile ground for it to land on, if they don't like Nigerian food, don't ram your food down their throat. And other cultural things also should not be rammed down their throat.
Brother, so next question, right, is so any cultural differences between your culture and your wife's culture that you've noticed?
They don't
And
eat
is it a
fried chicken.
problem as well?
They don't eat fried chicken. Um, um, Cultural differences. She's not loud. Black people are known to be very loud. And unfortunately, I fit the stereotype, especially when I'm pissed. Um, I'm very blunt. And she is also, too. We both have very short mouths, um, which I kind of warned y'all about earlier. But, you know, if she's mad, she's very still reserved. Like I said, very feminine in it. And, you know, unfortunately, with black culture is I'm gonna stereotype here. Not all black people are like this. Not all black Americans, I should say, are like this. But oftentimes, uh, we can become very belligerent when we're angry. We can try to get into a shouting match with you. We can get very petty or disrespectful um, in a sort of shaming type way. We can do many things like that. I'm sure y'all seen plenty of dating shows out there to know what I'm talking about. Pop the balloon. But the thing is it's not really her culture. I have to be careful because when she takes something to heart, she really takes it to heart. So um, if I say something, out of pocket, out of anger, it can really cause some serious damage. Um, Other things where we culturally, me and her just differ on. This one may surprise y'all because she comes from the land of coffee. For religious reasons, she does not drink coffee. I know that's going to probably shock a lot of you guys. It sure as heck shocked me because I drink 2 to 3 cups a day. Matter of fact, I had 2 cups before this. Um, so she doesn't drink coffee. It's for religious reasons. They fast a lot if they're Orthodox. They fast much more than us Muslims do. Muslims, we fast for Ramadan, and then you have Muslims that fast Mondays and Wednesdays. In addition to that, but for her, um, they fast. She fasts uh, quite religiously on Wednesdays and Fridays, and they have also like dedicated days throughout the year in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church calendar where they fast. And when I say they fast, their fast is not the same as the Ramadan fast. It's not the absence of food and water like ours is from sunrise to sunset. Theirs is more so a whole day, and it is they won't eat dairy or meat all day long. This is why Ethiopian cuisine has a lot of vegan dishes, not vegetarian, yes, vegan, because there's no dairy. I can't stress that enough. So if you're one of these guys that you're not culturally tolerant, these aren't the women for you. Matter of fact, if you're not culturally tolerant, what are you doing with the passport? Looking for, seriously, seriously, you need to you need to check your priorities and your wish list, because you're looking for like a Thai woman and you're not tolerant of their culture. You're setting yourself up for failure and a waste of time. And I'm speaking firsthand.
Facts, bro. Absolute facts. So next question for you, brother, is so how is your household ran? Brother, I'm assuming that you are the head, right? And she lets you lead.
Oh yeah, there's not even
Yeah.
a question about that. Oh, you better lead the household. These are not for girly men.
Was that sorry, bro? Was that something that was discussed during your engagement to her, or she knew automatically that you were going to be the leader and she'll let you lead, or did you have to tell her, "Hey, I got to lead"?
You see my face? No, they understand right out the box. The man's the head of the household, even if he's a different religion. Take me as an example. Her mom understands that. I understand that. She understands that. Her dad understands that. I can't stress that enough. So I would say that's normative. Now, can I say that's all? No, there's going to be outliers, but we're not concerned with the outliers. We're concerned with what's normative.
Amazing, brother. Amazing. So next question for you, bro, is so brother, now I'm assuming that she also does the majority of cooking and cleaning. So hold on. Does she do all cooking and cleaning, or you do some cooking and cleaning, but she does the majority of cooking and cleaning, brother?
So she grew up spoiled. Let me put that out there. So my wife, her dad, um, she her dad was a general in Ethiopia. So she comes from, I guess, a more privileged family. Um, and one of the neat things I would say about her is, Lord, I always will get this wrong. I think her ancestor on her maternal side is the Emperor Menelik. So she has the royal bloodline in her, which is pretty neat. And she likes to talk about those sorts of things. And she's very proud about that, by the way. But she got very spoiled. So, despite that, she does probably 95% of the cooking. Always Ethiopian food. I think that's all she knows how to cook, to be honest with you. Once again, I will say from my experiences and my observations, both with her college friends and other women I've been blessed to come across, they come out the gates cooking. All right. Now, as far as cleaning goes, we kind of, I do the laundry. She hates the full clothes, and I don't think she knows how to operate the washing machine, to be honest with you. I'm about 99% sure she does not know how to operate the washing machine. And like for the vacuuming, I would say she does that most of the time. She's very cleanly. I'm a very cleanly person because, this is not a dig at anybody else, or any other faith group, but Muslims are known to try to keep their places very clean. It's actually a religious thing. So we keep the house very clean, but I clean the bathrooms, for instance, is just because I think that I would do a better job at it. And I don't want her to breathe in those harmful chemical fumes. So I'll do that. But she cleans like the kitchen and She's more than willing to help out without asking.
Amazing. Okay, brother. Awesome. So, brother, next question for you, right, is so she's in America, right? Brother, so how did she get to America in the first place? Was she there for studying? She got a scholarship for studying, or her parents paid for university to move out there, right? I'm assuming.
Question. So she came over here on the student visa, and she was um, studying um, initially. Okay, so and she still technically could have that visa status if she wanted. But I told you earlier, this is one of the smartest women like I've ever dated. So let me give you some backstory here, and I'll try to make this super quick. And you may need to remind me because one of the issues about me is I have like multiple conversations going on in my own head,
Mhm.
and so just try to remind me if I need it. So my ex-wife, who's Kenyan, and I met when we were in university, and we were just dating. I, you know, thought, she's a good woman. And I still say actually she's a good woman, and I'll get into that. Actually, I'll probably leapfrog here into that soon. However, the way that we ended up getting married was going to speak to why I said my wife's very smart and very resourceful. Um, so my now ex-wife and I got into a crisis point early on when we were dating. Her came over here on a student visa. Of course, I didn't know anything about this. I was just a young kid in college, in my early 20s. And so her brother had sent her over here to get her education, and offered to pay for it while he had his business up and running in South Africa, where her brother went through a nasty divorce and his business fell apart somewhere in there and all this other stuff. And so it left her without the ability to pay for the college. She was going, but she couldn't pay for it. And the college for international students, in case the listeners don't know, is much more expensive than it is for locals. So she got into a crisis point and put her in a jackpot situation, um, where she was facing deportation. And one of the things that will work in guys' favor if you're looking at dating an African woman or any sort of woman over here in the States is, um, a lot of times they are worried about their status. Um, so me and her were already dating, and she was looking at deportation, and I couldn't pay for the her school. It's like probably 50 grand a year, and that was way back then. So, anyways, we were over at a friend's house, and the friend was like, "Well, Walter, why don't you marry her? Look like a happy couple. Just marry her, and that will help keep her here." And I looked at her and I was like, "Well, that's definitely an option." And then there's that added stigma over there. This is what helps out American guys. For Africans that go back home after having been in the States and they come back empty handed without a degree or a load of cash, they're viewed as failures. So she didn't want to be viewed that way. But like I said, we're already in a relationship. I agreed to it. I said, okay, if she's okay with that, I'm okay with that. We've been dating, I think at the time, maybe for 8 months. 8 months. So you can see I took my time this time. To the guys in chat and people listening along, I took my time. I agreed to it, and it turned into a 13-year marriage. That's quite some time with 2 kids. Okay, so, why did it end? There's some religious issues going on. You mentioned earlier that, for us Muslims, we could be married to, you know, Christians, we can be married to a Jew, we can be married to other Muslims. But one thing we can't do is we can't be married to, at least according to my understanding and my beliefs, um, and research I've done on the topic, actually, if someone is of the faith, like for Muslims, they claim that they're Muslim, and they are either A, not practicing, or B, renouncing it, that's like an automatic divorce. It essentially annuls your marriage. And if there's any Muslims listening, I'm sure you can pop into Google and find that out extremely quickly. And so that was a deal breaker for me. We all have deal breakers. We all have conditions that we put on the relationship. One of mine is religious. I'm very religious. My wife's very religious. That's part of the reason why when we were talking, it was very nice to see and to know that she's extremely religious. Like I said, this is a woman that comes from the land where coffee was found and took a vow to not drink coffee and has never drank coffee. When I met her, she was actually a vegetarian. Now she's no longer a vegetarian, and that's not my doing. That was her choice. But the first time she actually ate meat was with me. So that circles all the way back to the beginning of our conversation when I hinted to guys when I said people change. We're not static beings. We're always in flux. But I digress. I lost my train of thought. There you go. I said it.
So, the next question, right, is so are you worried about American feminism and her having American female friends poisoning her? Because that's a problem when women who are foreign live in the West. The feminism is strong, the brainwashing on music, TV shows, the culture, and work as well. And then you have American female friends who are hearing that she's doing all this for you. Girl, what you doing? You stuff for your man, blah, blah, blah. He lazy, all that stuff. So, brother, you know how they are, these crazy American women of all races, right? So, are you worried about that at all? That poisoning her and potentially ruining your relationship?
What a fantastic question. Look, guys, I'm going to tell you one of the most amazing things. If you find the right one, Ethiopian, non-Ethiopian, otherwise, pay attention to the culture you're dating. One of the mistakes I made with my now ex-wife, and this is another trend you can see that goes around on Instagram, and you can look in the comments and see some of these comments. They refer to themselves as the most modern Africans. When they say modern, they mean westernized. All right? Kenyans are very westernized. And my ex was actually from Kenya. Keep that in mind. She became more Americanized after she got here. Is it a concern? Absolutely. But here's what I mean when I say we date cultures, right? What did I tell you all about earlier regarding Ethiopians and their culture? It's very insular. It's very strong. That being said, if the lady that you're pursuing is, if she is in her culture and she is woven into that fabric, you don't necessarily have to worry about her falling victim to the dominant culture in the land. And yes, Black American culture is probably what you're referring to in large part, and some of the white American culture, especially with regards to the concept of feminism, is very strong over here. To ask that question in, say, Russia, Or, if we had met in Russia, would I be concerned about her falling victim to the local culture and thought processes? No. But over here in the US, and I'm sure it's the same in the UK, and I know it's the same in Canada, you got to be worried about that sort of thing.
Hmm.
And once again, if the young lady is solidly based on a foundation in her culture and she loves her culture and she takes pride in her culture, even if she doesn't completely love her culture, she's prideful of it and overall still has a strong inclination towards it, that's important because it means that the person that you're with is probably going to more or less still stay like that.
Amazing, bro. Amazing. So, brother, next question for you is: does your wife have guy friends, and what do you think about it, brother?
Guy friends.
Have you discussed it with her? Made it very clear that no guy friends, or are you cool with that, brother? Break it down for me, bro. The guy friends.
I'll have to discuss that with her.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not something I even have to discuss with her. Um, to be very frank, I can't speak for all Ethiopians, and I'll translate it back to my wife. But there are some that are westernized. Make no mistake about it. Um, and even the westernized ones, oddly enough, a lot of them still date within their own ethnic group. Um, so even their men are subjected to westernized women, is what I'm getting at. However, guy friends. Um, my wife, the only thing I could say regarding it is my wife's different than any woman I've personally dated. I mentioned earlier that, for instance, we travel, and that used to be one of the things that, and it still is, but it's one of the things that I used to really like to do, and it was kind of a flex. So my Instagram is travel rest travel, and even though I don't post much to it anymore, I'm hardly ever on Instagram to be honest with you. But I used to post a lot of my travels statewide, um, outside of the states, whatever, um, to my IG, and um, it's something that men in general love to do. Is they love to take their young women out places, be the Superman, expose their women to new experiences and places and cultures and things to do. Um, but for once, I met a woman that she's like, "This is great, but I'd rather just be at home with you." She's just not out there like that. She doesn't like a lot of people. She's not in the streets, obviously. Um, she's perfectly happy. We've been home all day, for instance. I have a hard time getting her to go out for a dinner date.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's a homebody at all. I mean, we've probably been to New York 8 times last year, and I do all the stuff. I take her shopping. She doesn't ask for it. She's grateful for it. Um, but I've never had a woman that I've just literally wanted to spoil like this. She just, I don't know how to explain it other than you'll know it when you have a woman like this. Um, and if you do, hang on to her. But I literally find myself sometimes when I'm, at the office or something like, man, I would really like to buy her some jewelry, or man, I would really like to um, surprise her with some new clothes or something. Because when you feel and you're masculine and you feel appreciated, you want to reciprocate that.
Hmm. Facts, bro. Brother, is she cool with you having female friends, or you don't pay, bro, having female friends?
Man, I don't have no female friends. The only issue I have is I have an ex-wife that can be a little bit meddlesome, that wants me back. But I don't really have any female friends. I pretty much stay kind of straight to it. Have I had people flirt with me, for instance, while I'm with her? Sure. Um, have She's had people flirt with her right in front of me. That happens. It just happens sometimes. Nobody's necessarily immune to that. Necessarily, no matter how your girl looks, but
Mm.
or however the dude looks. Some people just don't give two flips. But the thing is no, I don't keep around females. I think that's you're inviting trouble if you do that.
When men flirt with her in front of you, what's her reaction? Is she being friendly, or she's not trying to be despicable? Is she being friendly, like Western women are, to get him away and be like, okay, thank you? Or is she getting close to you, holding your arm, and make it clear that she's got a man? What's her reaction, bro?
Oh, it's just straight up ignoring them.
Mm.
There's not even any life given to it. And if it's not around me, it's like hostility. I don't know why she's like that. Like I said, she has a little bit of fieriness to her, but there's no entertainment given to it.
Okay. And brother, when people flirt uh, with her in front of you, what's your reaction, bro? You grab her quickly, or you're like, okay, you wait for her to do a thing to get close to you? Yeah. So if people flirt with you, brother, woman, in front of her, what happens there? What's her reaction?
As she's told me in the past, she's looking at how I react. And as long as
Mm.
I'm not reacting to it or giving it any life, she's fine. She realizes it's gonna happen. So far as if people do that in front of me, man, let me tell you, I'm the kind of guy I could go up to a bar and wait for the lady at the bar to acknowledge me so I can, place my order or something like that. I don't drink. So, and neither does she, by the way. But I'll go up to the bar and wait for the lady to acknowledge me or the man behind the bar to acknowledge me, to place my order. And true story, can't remember which state this was in, you know, guy saw me waiting. He's a white guy, and I think he felt a certain way, like I'm more important than this guy, and he decided to uh, just kind of like skip the line in front of me. He got a Black American response, and I know I have to keep this PG, so I'll let him know that this may result in me putting some hands on him. And so I have a quick temper. I have a very quick temper, because I take respect seriously and honor seriously and dignity seriously. And any self-respecting person that values their honor and their own dignity and self-worth is going to feel a certain way about being disrespected. So sometimes in my life, my wife, she appreciates it when I walk away most of the time. But sometimes, because I'm actually, I don't know how much of me you can see. I'm actually in extremely good shape. Sometimes I do not let it slide, and I will become very confident because I'm very protective of her. So if there's a problem, you know, um, usually there's not a problem, thank God. But if there's a problem, my wife is not a very large woman. You know, she's maybe 100 pounds, 105 tops. She's not a very big woman, but it definitely triggers that femininity I was telling y'all about earlier. And her feminine demeanor triggers it brings more out of me from my masculinity. Let me
Wow.
expound on that because that's profound, right? Just like
Okay.
you can have a woman, this is why guys have to be so careful about who they're choosing. You can have a woman that literally um, shuts your masculinity down. I'm trying to think of the word. Emasculates you. You can have a woman that's very emasculating, and she can really try to turn you into a femboy. I think it's the words you used earlier. And just like you can have a woman that does that and tries to basically diminish your manhood and make you less of a man and make you not the leader of the household, make you fight for it and things of that nature, you can have on the flip side a woman that brings more out of you as a man, makes you more masculine, makes you more protective, assertive. So I digress.
Wow. Incredible. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, next question for you is, brother, let me know if you're tired when I go for a break. I make remember, brother, I'm working on your time, okay?
Okay.
So, brother, in terms of like girls' trips, right? Does your wife do girls' trips? Because, brother, the reason why it's important to us is because women who live in the West, right, who are married, go on girls' trips to Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Grenada. And we know for a fact that they're getting ran through by Jamada Rastaman. Okay? So, brother, girls' trips, right? Does your wife do girls' trips with her female friends? And, brother, what do you think about it?
No. If she was
Mm,
single, yeah, she'd go on girl trips all she wants to. However, I don't worry about that. We do everything basically together. Um, I mentioned earlier, and I know I mentioned I'm going to circle back to some things. This is a good segue to circle back into something. She's very clingy. From what I've observed, Ethiopian women, based on my observations, I can't speak for all, but they tend to be very clingy, and they're known to be very loyal to their men. My wife told me very early on, "You're not going to divorce me. I don't believe in divorce."
damn.
Okay. There's actually a thing like that here in the States. A lot of the Southern blacks, um, it used to be a thing. I'm not sure it's very prevalent anymore. Used to not get divorces because they didn't believe in divorce. And so they would just, heck, actually, my mom, although she was divorced, she never remarried. She didn't believe it was ever appropriate to remarry. There are Black Americans that are potentially of this opinion, but once again, these are probably outliers nowadays. This is not the norm. Um, yeah, sexy red is probably the norm now, but and unfortunately, we've strayed as a culture.
Facts, bro. Um, brother, is she happy with you going on guys' trips? You know, you and your boys to Vegas, to Japan. Is she, or she be like, oh, what's happening here? What about me? Like, take me with you, or have you spoken about trips with your boys?
I have not spoken of that with her. I travel still for work occasionally. Sometimes she'll come with me, sometimes she won't. Um, just depends on how easy it'd be with her job, usually. Um, but usually she wants to be at my side. If I were to take a guys trip and I was just like, it's just going to be me and the guys, I really don't believe she'd have a problem with it. For instance, I used to have a thing when I'd finish up my assignments. For instance, when I was working on the road, inspecting all these places, it was customary for me after maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months working in these locations. It was customary for me to smoke a cigar at the end, like, I'm done. Time to celebrate. I got my bread, and it's time to head on back. But she hates smoking. She hates smoking. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed or anything like that. But I did do this celebratory cigar, and I do miss smoking cigars. So, funnily enough, it was something we had caused to celebrate here not terribly long ago. And I was like, man, I really feel like having a cigar. She's like, oh, you can get it. I don't mind. You can get it. Just where are you going to smoke it? I was like, yeah, I'll smoke it outside. I'm not going to smoke in the house. But I didn't end up getting it anyways. I do that for her. I do that out of appreciation of her. Even though it's something that I want to do, I deny myself. Not because she's down my throat about it, but because it's out of respect for her. She commands that respect. I'm going to repeat that. She commands that respect. She doesn't do it by trying to overtalk me, overpower me, emasculate me, beat me down with feminist ideals.
You ain't
She,
ish, right?
you got it.
Ain't
There you
ish.
go. Yeah, she does it.
You ain't ish N word. All that low IQ talk. You N word. You ain't ish. Broke AS N word. All that low IQ talk. Bro, we got a problem in America, bro. A real big problem. But carry on, bro. Sorry, man.
Yeah, we do have a problem. And, there's nothing wrong with leading in a way with femininity. She lets her femininity do the talking. I apologize for the guys that this is like, oh, this is a no brainer. But I had never experienced that. The Nigerian lady I dated for 4.5 years, when I was just starting into high school and early into college, she was very Americanized. Very Americanized. Um, Kenyans, I'm sorry, but they're, if this offends anybody, they're very westernized. I would say they're probably the most westernized country in East Africa. Just so you know, just know that I've actually been there. Very westernized. But if you're looking for easier dating opportunities, it's probably easier over there because there's no compunction about dating outside of their race, let alone their culture. Matter of fact, when I was in Malindi, for instance, Malindi, Kenya, which is a popular destination for Europeans, especially Italians, it's not uncommon to go out to um, establishments and see older, and I mean like 60s, maybe late mid 50s, early 60s guys running around with Kenyan women that may be 19, 20, 18, maybe, just very young, attractive looking women. It's not uncommon to see that. And there's actually a subculture there of marry for money. I'm just going to be honest. So if you're a guy that likes to lead with your wallet, you're looking for an attractive woman that has, some um, understanding of Western culture, and she'll still appreciate you and take care of you and all that stuff, go for your king and woman, please. Um, I can't stress that enough.
So next question for you, bro, is what's over here? So brother, brother, do you plan to move to Ethiopia with your wife?
Look at you, man. Why are you asking? You've been doing this too long. Oh, man. That's a great question. Yes. Yes, I do. I do not plan on retiring in the States. Um, we have a beautiful house here, and we live in a freaking guard gated community. But please, I'm not uber wealthy or anything like that. I'm probably well to do. Um, but I wouldn't even say I would fit the definition of what would be considered upper middle class in the States. And mind you, I have a divorce and I pay child support. So that being said, um, at the end of the day, I don't see myself retiring in the States. I've always wanted to travel and study abroad. As long as I can probably remember back, I've had, you know, fantasies about this. I grew up watching House Hunters International, and things of that nature. Um, and I just, this is a personal conviction of mine. I just do not believe that um, America is a place where Black people are truly able to reach their full potential. I know that sounds strange, but I think deep in the psyche of Black Americans, and this may be the case for Black Brits, we have in the back of our minds that we're either second class, or what do these people think about me? Are they racist? These are thoughts that should not be going through anybody's head. I don't think that the dominant population in America, white people, think like that. I'm sure they're not thinking when they talk to Black people, are these people going to be racist towards me? Are they going to be denying me opportunities? So there's things that come with living here. So to answer your question, I've definitely spoken with her about relocating to Ethiopia. For me, it would help me retire quite a bit earlier. And I don't know if you've seen videos, but she's very proud of her country. As most Ethiopians that I've come across are extremely proud of the country. They're really building it up. I get it. I've heard the information about the ethnic violence and stuff like that going on in Tigray. My wife's actually Tigray. Um, I get all that stuff that's going on up there in like Mekelle and stuff like that, and with the Amhara now rising up against the federal government. However, it's not as severe as it's being portrayed in the media. I just want to leave it at that.
Wow. Okay, brother. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, now, do you plan to have kids with her?
I don't have a choice. Wants four. So that's yes, yes. We already even know the first name. So, yes.
Awesome, bro. How many kids are you planning?
4.
Oh, congratulations. She's young, bro. She's under 35. I'm assuming she's 23, 24. So you've done very well there. This is, men who are building themselves up in their 30s, 40s, and they want children, have to go for women in the early 20s or mid 20s, at least, because women in their 30s, right, 35, 36, you can't pop out 4 kids, bro. It's over. Right. So we have that benefit as men to be taking time out to build ourselves up, wealth, investments, right? Career, getting years of experiences, traveling, becoming a wiser man. Then you get to your 21-year-old, your 22-year-old, your 20-year-old. Then you mold her, right? Then you direct her. That's what men got to do. Because the reason why a lot of women in America, right, have lost it, right? Obviously, we can blame feminism. We can blame a certain group of people that I won't name. That's for a different discussion. We can blame the culture, right? But the men there are not masculine, bro. A lot of American men, a lot of British men, Canadian men are not masculine. They're not being face value to women. They're scared to tell their true feelings to women as to how they're masculine and how things should be ran. They pander too much, right? And I'll be honest with you. I used to be a feminist. But I cut that BS a long time ago. That wasn't beneficial to me. Women didn't really respect me. I saw the bad dudes in tattoos, man, who were masculine getting a woman who were actually feminists themselves, right? So we have to make sure that we tell it as it is. That's why I do a woman, right? The other day, I tried to set up an interview with a woman from a certain country. I won't name the country. And then she says to me, you don't appear to be feminist, IP. And And I said, yeah, I'm not feminist. I think feminism destroyed, you know, the relationship between men and women in the West. And she said, no, it's not going to happen. I let her go, bruv. Now, a simp or weak guy will actually, retrace back and say, no, I don't know, not really. You got it wrong. I don't give a damn anymore. Tell it as it is. Yes, you may lose women, whatever. There's millions out there worldwide. Okay? So start having an abundance mindset, and drop that one itis. Oh, it's only her. It's only her, bro. You lost her. Get a new chick, man. That's why for me, really, I don't really fall in love like that. I can love a woman, right? But I won't love her to a point where if she leaves me, I'll be heartbroken, etc., etc. I will simply charge it to the game and move on, bro. That's how I do things, guys.
Yes, I'm 100% in agreement with you. Oh, by the way, my wife, extremely anti-feminist. The Kenyan one, though, she was actually feminist, if you can believe that. Now, I can't remember how she would describe it. It was not completely westernized feminism, but she subscribed to some of the ideals, but still with the man at the head of the house and all that stuff, because that's still traditional there. However, my wife now, who I very much so love and care about, she's very anti-feminist, extremely anti-feminist, very much so against the ideals and the tenets of it, and is not afraid to speak out against it with other women that are espousing that. Unfortunately, feminism's like, it's like a virus. It spreads, and they're trying to contaminate as many women with as possible, and it's actually quite sad. I remember, for instance, we were at a restaurant, and I can't remember the restaurant. Oh, it was actually a West African restaurant here in the Atlanta metro area. And she had never really had West African food in a restaurant setting. I might cook her some like suya or pepper soup or something like that, but she had never had it and in a restaurant setting. And so I was helping her order it. And the waitress, who, oh gosh, I want to say she was either from Ghana or Nigeria, like, let her order her own food. Now me, I was like, this woman's lost her goddamn mind. Number one, you're supposed to be my waitress. You're supposed to be serving me, not yelling at me. And number two, she was my fiance at the time. This is my fiance. I'm helping her select a dish that I think would be appropriate with all the dietary restrictions, because she doesn't eat like shellfish or certain ingredients, like, or for instance, fish without scales is a no-no for her because she's Orthodox. So this is when feminism rears its ugly head, because I'm an older guy. I'm automatically perceived, unfortunately, by a lot of women as domineering, and like I'm some sort of authoritarian despot or something. It's really sad. Feminism is really messing up a lot of young women out there, and prospects for us men.
Facts, bro. And there comes to a point where we're gonna have to fight back, because again, the only way to fight back is by, governments doing radical actions. Feminism spreads via media like TikTok, via social media platforms, via TV shows, music. And we know if they really want to stop it, what's got to be done. You might have to start, blocking some ideas. You might have to start, banning some things. Until they do that, we're gonna have to, just ride a storm. If I'm honest with you, if they really want to stop it, right, strip it out from the TV. But actually, in fact, feminism will never go away in the West, but I want foreign countries, right, to be aware of it and start doing some things to block it from coming into a country. So yes, I do believe that foreign governments should be doing some radical actions. Could it mean, I don't want to say some words here, but certain platforms, should they be in your country? In China, they've got their own platforms, and feminism is not a big problem there. And if they see it creeping in, they deal with it. They have their own Google in China. They have their own YouTube. Google and YouTube are not even in China because they know that that's how it spreads. And I don't like how the Chinese do things, right, in everything they do, right, particularly in Africa and the Caribbean. Okay, but I can give them credit as to how they have built their own platforms, to stop, Western platforms coming in their country and spreading BS, right? Think about it, right? Things like Facebook isn't in China, and there's a lot of feminists on Facebook in the West pushing out their BS. But if it's not in your country, you can't be aware of it, right? You see? So certain governments and countries need to start doing things, that will benefit their people and their culture. And until they do that, then don't be surprised when they're crying in 30 years from now, oh, what's happened to my country and our culture? Well, you should have done it. You should have fixed it back in the day when you had the chance to. So, brother, so your wife is aware of feminism and she actively is pushing against it. I have to applaud that, bro. I have to applaud it. That's amazing. Did you make sorry, brother?
It's inherently against her culture, you see, and this is why I pointed out earlier. There's going to be a lot of things that I say that they're actually going to circle back into things I stated that I'm going to state here now. Actually, so I mentioned she's very strongly interwoven in her culture. Feminism as an ideal and as a concept is alien to her culture, and therefore it's going to have problems. That seed, if it's planted, it's going to have problems finding a place to grow. You see, so guys, I'm looking at the chat. I'm telling y'all, the thing is find a woman that's grounded in her culture. It's going to make it hard. Like I found my wife over here in the States. I didn't go get a passport. There's plenty of women that land every day in whatever countries y'all live in. But by all means, if you find it easier to have many more fish in your tank, go to the country that you're interested in. However, the woman, if she's grounded in her culture and it's a non-Western culture, it's going to be much more difficult for Western ideals to sprout in that woman and find a place to grow. Now, I saw a guy in the chat earlier say, hey, TikTok's a problem with Ethiopians. My woman takes breaks from maybe TikTok and Instagram, maybe for months at a time. She just calls them mental health breaks. She knows, pick your woman wisely, guys. She knows it is derisive to her mental health and well-being. So, guys, y'all are selectors just as much as the women are. Just increase your chances of having a better selection by coming correct.
Amazing, brother. Wow. The fact that she's aware of it, she pushed back against it. That's just you found a gem, bro. You really did. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, you and your ex-Kenyan wife divorced, okay? Can I ask? I know you mentioned it previously, but correct me if I'm wrong here. Feminism was a problem with her, and two, she was a Muslim but wasn't practicing. So those two issues made the divorce happen. Did you divorce her, or did she divorce you?
So I divorced her, and the thing that actually led more so to the divorce was not the feminist aspect. Is it more so religious? That's like a deal breaker. Well, look, guys, keep your red lines. If you got a red line, what good is a red line? You got to set boundaries. Your job has boundaries.
Hmm.
So shouldn't you have them too?
Facts.
Tell me if I'm not speaking facts. I'm a straight shooter. I'm from Texas. We keep things very simple. So I don't I don't know if y'all work at a job where there's complete anarchy or not. But if you're trying to get something done, you better have had some boundaries. I'm letting
Damn.
it think. So I don't know what else to say. It's very simple. Like, guys, it's not rocket science. So the reason for the divorce was is along religious grounds. My boundaries are like if my wife, I told her one of the things for me, whether she believes in divorce or not, is I have to be married to a, you said it earlier, person of the book, Christian, Jew, or Muslim. If she apostatizes from her faith, I can't be married to her. My
Hmm.
marriage won't be valid anymore. She did the whole Nikah ceremony with me. Nikah is the Islamic marriage with me. She did that for me, even though necessarily that's something that she doesn't necessarily agree with. But once again, she comes from an understanding family. She has first cousins that are very much so practicing Muslims. Somebody um, asked also in the chat earlier, what would we name our first kid? I just want to answer it would be Ahadu, which means one in Ethiopian, I mean in Amharic. So I just want to say that since somebody asked that for some reason, and that's the name she thought of, which I actually like. Now I don't know if she's going to go 1, 2, 3, or if I'm going to pop in name number 2 or whatever the case may be, but I'm just somebody asked that question earlier, and I just wanted to answer it.
Amazing, amazing, bro. But that's a great point in regards to, you know, having a religious woman. I believe religion is important in family and society. America's getting less religious. UK has abandoned religion, and right now it's total. They've lost it. Like a lot of crime here, women sleeping around, feminism, and I'm thinking if a woman's not religious, right, where is she getting her morality from? Because religion provides you with a way of life, how to live life, how to do things. No one's perfect, right? But if you're doing things majority right in your life, that's great. You're getting it from religion, right? If you don't have that foundation, where's your guilt coming from? Because I'm sure you wanted to do some things right there that were against your teachings, but God is in your mind. Yo, that's why in my book. That's not why I practice. And then you went away from that, right? But for women who don't have that kind of morality powered by the book, what's stopping them from doing crazy things? So there's no judgment there. There's no morality there. And that's my point, right, bro? And that's why I went to Japan last year, bro. And Japan is a very atheist society. And I was thinking here, like, yeah, Japanese women, some of them are traditional, but they don't believe in God. Christianity is quite small there, Islam's quite small there. And I was thinking, right, listen, brothers who take religious seriously, the books, can you actually marry a Japanese woman who doesn't believe in God or any religion? You know, where's her morality coming from? And then bro, look more into their culture. There's a lot of freaky activities in their culture that's not that's not showcased on Japanese media. There's a lot of cheating in their culture, you know, that's being exposed out there. Okay, high cheating, lack of God, lack of religion makes sense. So you see why, right? You see why um, religion is very important. Wouldn't you agree, bro?
Oh, absolutely. It gives you um, boundaries, and so on to that. I see someone saying in the chat, for instance, that bro, she is going to leave you. They're saying you are an opportunity for them girls, and they pretend, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Guys, look, there's two things certain in life: death and taxes. I'm not delusional. Please If you disagree, go see a doctor, catch the next school bus. However, that being said, all we can do is make the best possible decisions based on the information that we have. That's all anybody can ever do. We make a choice, we make choices every day to spend our hard-earned time or money, time, and energy on who we think might be our best selection with the wife, with regards to being a wife or girlfriend or fiance and potential mother of one's kids. However, do we always get it right? No. I shared with y'all earlier, I've gone through a divorce. My ex-wife still wants me back. I can't stress that enough. She actually texted me while we were on this call. She texts me quite often, actually. Okay, so I say all that to say, one could make the same argument and say to her, bro, or no, not in this case, bro. They could say to her, sister, he's going to leave you. He's a Black American. They're deadbeat dads. They're brokies. Is that what we're doing here?
Brother, so go on.
I can assure y'all I'm none of those things. And if there's any indication that I'm a fool, I apologize, but I'm definitely not a fool. All I'm trying to tell brothers to do is we got to up our decision-making process, come prepared, come correct, the same way you do for a job interview.
Facts, bro. Yasuke in the chat, I'm warning you, right? I've been trying to be lenient here, trying to make sure you get your words out here, but you're saying a bit. Your statements are getting more outrageous.
No.
If female statements, bro, I might just permaban you forever from this channel. Now, I'm not saying you can disagree, but saying that would happen, she's gonna leave you, all that stuff. No, you don't know, right? So watch the words, or I swear I'm this close to banning you. This close. Quit. Pipe down.
It's not bothering me at all. These are conversations that us men sometimes do need to have. When I was telling a very good friend of mine, his name's Shim. I was like, Shim, I think I'm gonna marry this woman. He's like, bro, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. He's like, man, she seems like such a great woman. But he was like, you're at this level, she's at this level. Get a prenup. So I talked to my wife, and I talked to her about the prenup. She's cool with that. So, for people that say things that don't know all the facts, guys, I'm gonna tell y'all, one of the things that I would do, you got to protect your assets. I put a lot of emphasis on the first part of the first few syllables of that word. You got to protect those. That's called being a man. Now,
Facts.
if you don't want to protect that, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you're one of those guys that go out there and share your lunch and you share your wife. But I protect my wife and I protect my assets, because that's what being a man is.
Facts. Brother, I'm gonna ask you more about assets very soon. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, what's your current relationship with your ex-wife? Do you have to be in communication with her because you have kids with her? I'm guessing you pay child support and you have to pay it to her. You gotta speak to her, right? If not, you'd be cut off completely.
In the States, you have to pay child support, and we have a decent relationship, I would say. King and women have the reputation for, um, and I would say this reputation is actually somewhat true with her. They try to take everything from you: house, car, kids, and all that other stuff. So I've been through this. It's actually not, I would say, out of greed. So it's important to state motives sometimes because it breeds better understanding of a situation. So in her case, I would say it would be out of vindictiveness. Um, how do I know? Because when everything was unwound and the divorce was finalized and all those things, we've had several conversations to the effect of, I wish I had listened to you, or I wish that, you know, I cooler heads had prevailed, and that I took more guidance from you. I let you handle certain things, not regarding the marriage, but regarding things during the divorce. So, for instance, um, the house that we had together, which I paid for, um, that was a casualty in the divorce. She didn't get the house. Why, fellas? Why? Because in order to get a house, when I bought the house, um, I bought it at an income level which I could afford. I'm giving y'all game. She could not afford this house on her own income, even with the child support. And I pay a lot of money in child support. All right. So, because of that and her poor credit, because I had the credit, it would have been impossible for her to essentially refinance the house in her name and pay out equity that was in the house to me. So we ended up selling it. Part of the reason that I'm telling you guys this is you got to protect your assets. You got to play chess. This ain't checkers. There's a lot of you guys out there that are playing checkers, and you need to wake up.
Brother, did you both buy the house together, or did you buy the house yourself, with your money?
We bought the house together, but I put up the money and I made the monthly payments and all that other stuff. However, in the state that we were living in at the time, if you buy a house when you're married, it doesn't matter who puts up the money for the down payment for the house, the 40, 50, 60, whatever $1,000, that doesn't matter. What matters is it's a joint marital asset in the state of Georgia. I knew that, but I also knew when I bought the house that if anything were to happen, she couldn't afford to keep the house, not on her income. And so I knew that it would be an auto sale. And that's why I did not have, during the divorce process, the house was one of the easiest things to get out the way first. We sold it, we split the assets. I know y'all are probably thinking they were split 50-50. You're being correct. 60-40. I got 60, she got 40. I'm telling you guys this for a reason. You have to play chess. If you go in there with your blinders on, yeah, you can be taken advantage of. But I assure you guys, you want to protect your assets. You do not want to have to start all over from scratch. You see, I'm talking to y'all in the house right now, right? Well, I mentioned it earlier. I live in a guard-gated community. This isn't a gate where, there's a fob and you just go through it. No, there's actual people that man the gate.
Amazing. So, brother, if a guy was to, so let's say before he gets married to a woman, right, and he buys his own property and it's in his own name, then he gets married, moves the woman in. Unfortunately, they get divorced. Does the man keep the house, because it's in his own name and he paid for it, or are American? Go on, bro.
You're correct, sir. That's absolutely correct for us Americans. You buy the house before you get married, the guy will be able to keep the house. It was not a marital asset.
Amazing. Yeah, brothers, man. Yeah, it's it's very important we know these things, man, because again, and the brother said, yeah, only two things are certain in life: death and taxes. So, next question for you, bro, is so, brother, between Ethiopian women and Kenyan women, which is better and why?
Oof. Ethiopian women all day,
Why?
all every day. Why? These women are ultra feminine and they guard their box.
Mm, meaning down
I
there, right?
yeah, I do mean that, and I mean to say like my wife has a friend. She's not a bad looking woman at all, and um, she guards her box. Ain't no man been with her like that. And
Ah,
and she's like 24, 25,
whew.
and you don't. It's a rarity. I don't say that to if my wife is awake now. I don't say that to put her out there. I'm not dropping her name or anything like that. But I just want to illustrate in a very uh, beautiful way how um, seriously these women take their body counts, their virginity, and their self worth by protecting those things. Um, but I would say Kenya is not a smash and dash, Ozzy. At the end of the day, um, you can find Kenyan women as well that uh, will still be very loyal and by your side, and um, they will be every bit better than probably any Western woman y'all are probably thinking of. Um, Westernized woman, that is. Um, and you can build a home with them. But, once again, guys, we all have boundaries. And if you don't have boundaries, you better find some because, wherever you work, I can assure you to get whatever your finished product that you were hired for out, there are certain boundaries that that are conducive to you staying employed. There's certain boundaries that also are conducive for you staying married. You should adhere to those, and you should make sure that your partner understands, you communicate them, and that she adheres to them. I can't stress that enough. And so, with my wife and with Ethiopian women in general, from my observations, if you're looking for a traditional sort of woman, they seem to be very plentiful over there, and their culture is more antiquated, and I mean that in the best possible sense than Western culture. So, and they're just gorgeous. They're very gorgeous women, very very gorgeous women. I'm sorry, Siri's triggered. I don't know why. Siri must think it's the most gorgeous woman, but no, they're very, very gorgeous women. I'm sure my wife would be happy to hear that. But if there's somebody ranking African beauty, right, for women, usually which countries are top three? Ethiopia, Somalia, Eritrea. The orders can be interchangeable.
Brother, so between Ethiopian women and Black American women, brother, who are you picking and why? Which is better?
I've dated Black American women. There's a certain familiarity you get with Black American women that's not to be underestimated. And to everybody in the chat, I understand it is very cool. It's very sexy. It's very um, much so a modern thing to do to date women that are perceived to be exotic and outside of one's culture. Just make sure that's not the only reason why you're doing it, right? Um, that being said, there's a virtue that comes with dating within one's own culture and racial background. The virtue would be that of familiarity, coming from similar experiences within the same country and similar ways of being raised and similar beliefs typically and things of that nature. So that being said, um, and in saying all that, though, I'd still pick an Ethiopian woman because we mentioned planting seeds earlier, and we mentioned the fact that people are not static; they're in flux. None of you guys are the 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 young men or the young women from when you were teenagers. I hope you've all grown as people as part of becoming an adult. Okay, so that being said, um, when it comes to Black American women, we talked about seeds. Feminism's a seed that can be planted in someone and it can grow. Will it find better growth potential in Ethiopian women or Black American women? You answer that.
Damn. Facts, absolute facts. Woo, classic stream, classic. So next question for you, bro, is in terms of brother. So business. Actually, no. Before we even speak about that, right? So when you were dating your Ethiopian wife currently, right? During that process, did you tell her your boundaries, and did she tell you her boundaries?
Absolutely. Communication with this wife of mine has been very easy. These women are very opinionated. I may have said that earlier. They have strong convictions, beliefs, and opinions that see them through life, and they will communicate those things to you. Um, so my wife was very clear with me up front, and I was very clear with her up front because I have no intention of ever going through divorce again. For you guys, please learn from me. Please. A wise man learns from other people's mistakes. You do not want to go through divorce, especially in the States. And in a lot of ways, I was lucky because I think that I have a pretty good head on my shoulders. But a lot of guys, when they get divorced, it ends them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Communication is the key. I don't understand these men that go over there. My wife has a very strong accent. She takes pride in her accent. And but she speaks English very well. And it took her some practice, I'm sure. There's still words that I say, many of which I may have mentioned here that she may not know the meaning of. But you got to be able to communicate with your significant other. I don't understand these men that go get these women, they can barely speak English, and they expect to build a strong, healthy relationship built on boundaries and mutual understanding and respect. Guys, you're gonna eventually disrespect your woman either directly or indirectly at some point in juncture if they come from another culture. You'll probably do it not even knowing you're doing it.
Wow, amazing, brother, amazing. So, brother, let me read this super chat here. Shout out to Mr. Cloudbuster for the support. Paying what's owned for your efforts to educate. Some of us are listening. Thank you, bro, for the support, man. Much appreciated. To back streams. This really means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Question for you, bro. He says, how is the food? Does she prepare it? So I'm guessing Ethiopian food. Do you eat that mostly, or is it 50-50 American and then Ethiopian food at the other 50?
What's American food?
Oh, black American food, like
Yeah,
collard greens and all that stuff.
all I did at home was Ethiopian food, and she can cook. She was actually cooking in the restaurant. I didn't even realize it. She was eyeing me when I walked into the restaurant. I kid you not. Yeah, she was eyeing me when I walked in the restaurant. She still had to find additional things out about me, um, that would either be a deal breaker for her or not. And I mentioned one of those earlier on the religious grounds. But it's very important to her that I'm in my kids' lives. She said if I wasn't in my kids' lives, bye bye. It's very important to her that I practice my faith. If I don't practice my faith, bye bye. So it's one of those things, right? These are her boundaries, and these are boundaries that I not only can work with, they fit with me like a glove. I can't stress that enough. They fit me like a glove. That's what you want to find. You want to find someone whose boundaries fit you like a glove. Now, I made a mistake the first time. I did not communicate my boundaries extremely clearly. A lot of the boundaries came much later because I was still growing. One of the
Hmm.
things about us Western guys, we probably don't mature fully as men till our 30s. I'm sorry to burst anyone's bubble, but a lot of us are not the men that women will want to be with over here in the West till we're in our mid 30s. I'm just going to be honest. And I am one of those six-figure guys, obviously. I'm not 6 feet, but I'm one of those guys. I'm not going to get out here and say I'm a high value man. Please, I'm not one of these people that's going to feed into that. And I'm sorry, IP, if this you know if against anything you've told your listeners, but higher value man to whom?
Hmm.
Who's the determiner of the value? It's the object that you're pursuing. Anyways, I digress. Sorry, Kevin Samuels. I don't want to step on anybody's toes here. But yeah, my woman doesn't care how much money I make. I could tell her, let's go to New York tomorrow. She'd be like, why? I don't want to go to New York. I'd rather be here with you. Blew my
Hmm.
freaking mind. I'm not capping. I'm telling y'all. I am telling y'all. I could tell her, let's go out to eat. Why? We have food at home. What do y'all want? You want Becky out there in the streets or you want a housewife?
Wow. So, brother, what were your no? What? So I think you mentioned one of your boundaries was religion. Yep. What were
Yes.
your other boundaries this time around that you told your Ethiopian wife, and what were her boundaries? So two questions in one: your boundary specifically and her boundary specifically.
You just made me actually think of one. One of the things that also led to the divorce for me was I uh, I wholeheartedly believe, and my ex-wife has actually admitted this to me. So it's not even a belief; it's a confirmed belief, and I'm correct, therefore, in saying that she did not appreciate me. Here's what I mean.
Hmm.
Um, Boundary wise, I think your significant other is going to need to appreciate a man. That's something scientifically through psychology proven to be something that men um, um, strongly desire, strongly prefer in a significant other. Okay, so you want to find a woman that appreciates you in as many ways as is possible. So my ex-wife, I told you how, we got married, and I was stand-up guy to her for years. This is a woman, for instance, that I love to travel. I took her to, I don't know, maybe 40 or something. Say she's been to Yellowstone National Park over here in this country. We've gone to the Grand Canyon, taken her up to Toronto, Canada. We've been down to Mexico, all that stuff with the kids. With the kids. Now, I could easily just be sitting on a pile of cash and going and buying some sort of exotic car and, spending money in other vices. I could easily be doing that, but I consider that an act of service and a way of showing my appreciation. That being said, um, like I was stating earlier, sometimes a woman can bring more out of you, right? More masculine traits because of who and what she is. You want to find a woman that appreciates you because if you're throwing your money into a hole and the hole has no bottom, you're going to be broke very soon. You don't want to be throwing your money into a hole. You don't want to be throwing your efforts, your hard earned money, your time into a woman that's not going to appreciate you. It's like throwing your money into a hole. I would caution any guy to doing that. That's why, for guys that like to lead with their wallet, that works with some women. Go for it. But at the same time, you better make sure she appreciates it. Nothing worse than to be a fool leading with your money, spending it on someone that doesn't even appreciate how hard it was to earn it. Am I speaking to somebody? Hopefully, I hope somebody's listening.
Hmm.
You have to find a woman that appreciates you. I can't stress that enough. That is a boundary for me. I communicated this to my wife, but she was showing me that already. I kid y'all not. When we were dating, she was, she knows I was getting into sneakers, actually in part because of her. And for example, she surprised me on several occasions with some Jordans, for instance. All right. I got to be honest. I've never had a woman buy anything for me, probably like that. I have a wallet in my back pocket right now with our one of our photos from we were when we were vacationing in Memphis, in blazoned on it, just because, So get a woman that works for y'all like that. If y'all don't want to feel appreciated, then go get you a Western woman. She'll make sure that she lets you know she doesn't care about you and you ain't ish.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing, bro. So next question for you, brother, is bills and money. So in your relationship with your wife, who pays the most bills? Do you pay all the bills? Does she pay some bills? Does she pay all the bills? Break it out for me, bro.
I pay the bills in the house. She does pay some. Technically, she's supposed to, but not
Hmm.
really. We just put aside her money. She's of the opinion that that's our money. The money she makes is our money. The money I make is our money. There's no, this is my money and this is your money. We have a joint bank account. We pool the money in there together and we realize that we're on the same team.
Okay. Awesome, bro. And brother, she's currently working, or is she a housewife?
She works.
Awesome. Awesome. So, but brother, even though you have a joint bank account, right? You as a man, um, dictate the big spending, what to spend on, what to invest in. You have that, leadership, brother, as to how much money should go for the food, for investments, for that, right? I'm assuming, brother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we just put her money aside really. Um Gosh, the crazy thing is she inclines me to save. I don't feel like I have to do a bunch of extra stuff to keep her. I don't know how to put that. Like I've really experienced a woman like that. A lot of guys, they probably feel like they have to do certain things to keep their woman around, keep her interested and in their orbit and stuff like that. But I guess her love language, if even though those are not really a real scientific thing, but if I were to say she has a love language, I definitely say it'd be quality time. And she likes acts of service. Those are her two. Now, is that mine? No, that's not my love language. But you know, hey, if you can work with it, if you can appreciate it, you can make it happen for your significant other. Now, there's a guy in the chat that says that you got to give it to the guys. It's not easy to pull an Ethiopian woman. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that if you come prepared, I told you earlier, a victorious warrior, this is Sun Tzu talking, wins first, then goes to war. How are you preparing? Learn. Learn your target. Learn your target and then go get it. If you ever go hunting, learn about the deer. Learn how you need to prepare for hunting the deer and go get the deer. I don't know what y'all are doing out there. It's like y'all wandering around in the wilderness blind, looking, to go hunting here. It's a lot of men out there, and they just lead with, I'm a high value man and I have certain this and certain. No, you're a freaking hunter at the end of the day. We men are hunters. That's if you're a man. So go out there, learn your prey, and go get it.
Facts, bro. Facts. Brother, when it comes to like family, right? Brother, I find that not in all cases, but a lot of some people who are married to a woman who's of African descent, and obviously she has parents and family back in Africa, they tell their wives, hey, you're married to an American man, rich man, he must be rich, he's earning dollars or he's earning more than you. Send money to us every month. So do you send money to a family every month?
No.
Okay.
I'm from Texas. So no, we don't do that. But I will say this. It's funny you say that. When we get in the house, she told me this very recently, and she was scared to tell me this. So I ought to tell you something. There was she wanted to help, right? So she wanted to help me when I was trying to get the house. And so I can't remember what came up, but her mom, as a wedding gift, even though we weren't married yet, her mom sent her like $3,000 or something. And I didn't know about it. And it helped us with something regarding the house. I can't even remember, fellas, what it was. There was some extra expense that came up because I put down a crap load for this house. And so, anyways, long story short, she didn't tell me that till like literally just a few days ago, and she thought I was going to be mad when she told me because, here I am, this American guy with all this pride and taking care of what I got to take care of and all this other stuff. And, I wanted her to feel like she was contributing. I always, fellas, you got to make your woman feel like she's special. And there's multiple ways of doing that, but, one of the things that you definitely want to make sure that she feels like is that she's contributing to the cause, the relationship, the family, whatever. It's also a sign of showing appreciation, by the way. I think a lot of guys like to say, I do this, I do that, I got this, I got that, whatever the case may be. I take care of all the bills and stuff. Be careful. You don't want to make her feel like she's minimized. You want to let her know that she's a part of the team and she's a contributor. Now, my wife understands men and women ain't equal. I don't have to explain that to her. She'd be the first to tell you guys. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I should make her feel like she has nothing to contribute other than the box.
Facts. American women, they just feel like, the box is all they need to contribute. They don't do nothing else. They don't cook, they don't clean, not submissive. Bunch of low IQ women, bro, in the West, man. Really. It's low IQ.
Is it low IQ though? Is it? If the bar set that low, it's the path of least resistance. If that's what passes these days to get to marriage, or maybe not even get to marriage, get to all the benefits of marriage, but not necessarily get married. Can you blame them? We as men, we have a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for. And and I wanted to do this interview in part because you're advocating for guys to go get their freaking passports. Go get them.
Hmm.
Go expand your dating pool and lead by example, for God's sake. Put these women on notice. We're not going to take this crap anymore. If y'all don't want to come correct to us out here, we'll go find what we're looking for somewhere else. Or maybe you can do like I did. My wife was not in the States very long. I think she had been here already 2 years when I met her. And I met her, and she's still extremely Ethiopian, still extremely Habesha, okay, in culture. But you know, there's plenty of young ladies that planes land every day. I think I said this earlier. And watch that culture though, because some cultures are more susceptible to Westernism and feminist ideals than others. And that's just something that I had to learn the hard way that you guys want to definitely take into account.
Wow, amazing, amazing, brother. So, brother, how long do you have left, brother? I mean, again, I'm working on your time, bro.
No, no, I'm fine. And no, I'm not
Okay.
rich, Wade Nobis. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm not rich. I said that earlier. God, for God's sake, my wife works. It's not like I have a maid in here or anything like that. And all I'm going to tell y'all, I'm not rich. I want to emphasize to you guys, because I don't see this in the chat. I come from a
Oh,
previous marriage. I
mm.
have two kids, two, one of which is 13 and the other of which is 7. So, by Kevin Samuel's definition, am I a high value man? I'm not 6 feet. I'm actually not very tall. Okay, so what are we talking about here, guys? Seriously, get these delusions out your mind. Go get your passports, expand your dating pool, and like who likes you. You can find who likes you. You just got to get off the couch. Yes, I am sitting on the couch. I admit that's a bit ironic. You got to get off your couch. Put yourself. I met my wife in South Dakota. If any of y'all are in the States, y'all know god darn well South Dakota is not known out there in the zeitgeist for having a bunch of Ethiopians, for God's sake.
Facts, bro. Facts. But so, brother, let me ask this right. So, okay, you're established, brother. You're well to do, which is great. We love seeing brothers do well. So, brother, now I don't know if you're a business guy or an investments guy or whatever, right? But do you invest? I like to know from your perspective. I think you said you're a finance guy, right? So, what do you invest in? Are you a stocks guy? You're a crypto guy? Are you a gold guy? What's your investment strategy, brother? Hmm?
So I'm a more into real estate, because I've seen the benefits at firsthand. I used to work for a brokerage firm, but I'm in insurance. I'm been working in insurance for probably 14, 15, 16 years. So I'm deep in insurance, commercial insurance to be more precise. And when I was in college, I worked briefly for an investment firm called TD Ameritrade. So I do know about investments in stocks. I just, I'm not a big fan of the stock market, to be very honest with you. I'm not saying that those that are more knowledgeable about it than I am should not partake in it. But I would say real estate is probably an easier investment, but it's not easier to get into. So, for instance, my wife and I are looking for a second place, like a home away from home, maybe a vacation home. No, this is not in Ethiopia. This would still be in the U.S. And the idea is to either sit on it and let it accumulate equity, and also maybe rent it out or something like that, so other people can pay off or pay down the mortgage or something like that. There's multiple ways to make money, but no, I don't have familiarity with crypto. I wish I gotten in on Bitcoin when it was dirt cheap, but who would have known it would have turned out to be what it is now?
Awesome, brother. I wish you would have best in your real estate journey, brother. So next question for you, brother. Right. So brother, so you currently have a prenup. You have a prenup before you got married, right? You signed it, or is it you signed it after marriage or before marriage?
You sign them before marriage, absolutely.
Okay. And brother, you signed it. Your Ethiopian wife signed it. So, brother, can you tell me the details of the prenup? If you can, if not, it's all good. But so God forbid, right? Hope you don't divorce. But if you were to divorce, what did she get? What do you get? Yeah, break it down for me, bro.
Well, I'll speak in generalities here because they can be a bit of a sore subject for anybody. But the easiest way to put it is when you get prenups or anything like that, you want to make sure that you. It depends on your state laws. Okay, so some states heavily regulate what you can and can't prenup. Like for instance, you can't prenup child support. You can't say I hereby agree to this amount of child support or something like that. That's absurd and it's not going to fly in any court of law. However, what you can do is set aside certain assets. You can protect certain assets that otherwise would be considered commingled, uh, even if you'd purchased them prior to marriage. So, for instance, like if you inherited an annuity and it pays monthly, you could protect that. Even if you commingle it as an asset with your spouse, you could still protect that and say, even though this was a commingled thing that which I inherited and we both used it as income, I want to set this aside as just mine. So you can do the same thing for houses too. But this is a largely, it's something that, it's going to depend on where the guys live and what the state laws are. Because God forbid you live in California. I'd never get married in California because you're looking at alimony almost certainly if you earn more than the woman, and especially if she's not working. So my brother, for instance, is married out in California. Lovely woman of gosh, where is she from? She's not from there. She's born here, but I think her folks come from Barbados, and so she's a housewife. Now, when he met her, she was working, but somewhere in there, she decided she was going to become a housewife. That's dangerous in California. You'd be taking care of her, potentially for the rest of your life if, God forbid, something happens. So I would just say bear that in mind. Protect your assets. Watch where you get married. That matters. For instance, in Texas, for you guys that live in Texas, if you live with a woman for 6 months, congratulations. You're now married. If you live with a woman in Texas for 6 months, you commingle your assets, and especially if you refer to them as wifey or wife or something like that, congratulations. You're married, common law marriage in Texas. How do I know? Because I know he's not really a friend, but he was. I'd say he's more of like a distant cousin. He's a cousin of a cousin that was with a Nigerian woman, and things went south. They have 3 kids together, and they weren't married. And so after their relationship soured, we got a call, not my current wife, but my ex-wife. We got a call from the young lady, the Nigerian lady, and she was asking us to come to court and testify for her that my distant cousin had referred to her as his wife and offer testimony that they behaved as a husband and wife. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. Because number one, I'd never heard of him refer to her like that. And number two, they didn't even have joint bank accounts or anything. He was playing chess. I hope you guys are listening. He was playing chess way out ahead of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying he was right for what he did, but he was protecting his assets. He even actually got custody of the kids. So for you guys to say that it doesn't happen, he has custody of all three boys, all three of them. Now, I'm not saying his woman is crazy either, by the way. You just got to play chess. You can go in with your blinders on into any situation, and you can prepare for the worst then. Or you can go into a situation with your eyes open, know what you're getting into, and try to make the best possible decisions based on the information at hand. I can't stress that enough. I'm going to reiterate that here again. And I want to say, circling back to your point about prenups and stuff like that, pay attention to your locale's marriage laws.
Wow. But we got all three kids because they actually weren't. How does that work? So he got all three kids. How? Because they couldn't prove that they weren't a communal marriage.
They fought for those kids. They really fought for those kids. And she originally got custody of them, but he stayed at it. He stayed at it. He showed that he was a good dad. He's very involved, in all those things. And whenever she slipped up, he's ready. And let's talk about winning first and going to war. He won first. And I'm not saying he's right for what he did, but he won first, fellas. Then he went to war. He won first. He did not refer to the years I'd been around him, never did I hear him refer to her as his wife. It's 3 kids together. Not wifey, not my wife, not even my fiance. They weren't even engaged. Because they were more into like that traditional African-like beliefs, even though he's a Black American and she's Nigerian, like I said. And they didn't commingle assets. They didn't have a joint bank account together, which is another important criteria, for instance, in the state of Texas, of determining a common law marriage. He's playing chess. Now, how many of you guys can say that? A lot of you guys would be shacked up, playing, wifey with a woman that's not your wife, potentially. You don't want to be like that, because you can have an unexpected outcome. And the court will say, you know what? You meet the definition of a marriage in our state, even though you didn't go before a judge or a priest. And therefore, here's the consequence of that. Let's take a look at your assets. Let's take a look at this child support, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow. So, brother, so you only have a prenup. Is there anything else you have to protect you? Any other avenues, or just a prenup?
I can't discuss all that right now. Hello,
Okay.
darling.
Okay. So the next question here, right, is, let's see. But with religion, so do you both pray together every morning? Do you pray her Christian prayers? Does she pray your Muslim prayers? I wonder how it works. Or do you have separate prayers?
What an awesome question. Awesome question. Well, we don't pray together. We do fast together. So during Ramadan, as hard as that is, this woman actually will fast with me, which mind-boggling to me. And then, when she's doing her fast, for instance, sometimes I'll fast with her. I will forego eating dairy with her and honor and respect her fast. I'm just, once again, when you're with the right person, you want to reciprocate their reciprocate their niceties, and they're extending that olive branch to you. And that's exactly what I find myself oftentimes doing. Hold on, give me just a moment, love. If you want to go start making dinner. Okay. So, yeah. So, so Yeah, that's a great question though. But Muslims and Orthodox people, we actually pray quite similarly. I didn't know that before I met her. But, I'll take her to church. I told you she doesn't drive. So I'll take her to church and I'll go up there with her sometimes and observe things going on in the church. And I'm as encouraging of her practicing her faith as I possibly can be. And I'm very happy to help her along with her journey. That's something I take a lot of pride and care in, because that's something that is very important to me. And um, if you guys are looking for a woman that's um, not religious, you probably shouldn't waste your time with Ethiopian women, because a lot of them tend to be very religious, by the way.
Amazing, amazing, bro. This is incredible. Wow. This is a classic, man. Well, I've learned a lot. I'm just soaking in a lot of game. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, I'm assuming your wife has social media, right?
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc. Now, some dudes I speak to don't like that, or some dudes I speak to are cool with it, but they ask their foreign girlfriends or wives, "Hey, can I see your DMs?" or blah blah blah. Do you do that, brother? Do you go through her DMs? Do you have access to her passwords, brother?
I know her passwords. I might give y'all some more game here. Um, Guys, be careful about what you post on social media. You'll
Mm,
notice, IP, that I don't have pictures of my wife up on my Instagram. This is a
mm,
conversation me and her have had. You got to be very careful. This is not because I'm Muslim, by the way. So I need to really wholeheartedly put that out there as well. So what I mean to say is, when you put yourself out there for the world, you got to be careful what you're getting back in from the world. People's demons can come through those windows. So if you're putting out there a picture of you and your wife for the world, look at the comments sometimes. Some of them will be congratulatory, surely, no doubt, right?
mm.
Some of them are going to be full of hate. You're going to have people that say things like, "Oh, she's with him because of his money," or "she's with him because he's light skinned." That's people's demons. You don't want those to come back to you, do you?
Mm, facts.
Because that's going to put you in a bad space. That's negative energy. I'm not one of these people goes around talking about energy or crystal or vibes or all that other crap, but you know, you gotta be careful what you put out there, because what you put out there, you don't know who's listening, what their intentions are, and what harm they can do.
Facts, bro. Facts. So, brother, the passwords thing, right? Did your wife willingly give you all her social media passwords, or did you ask her for it?
I don't know if I know her social media passwords, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure if I asked her, I could get them at
Mm,
any time. And I don't, for instance, so I'm talking to y'all on a MacBook right now. Her fingerprint's one of the passwords, mine's the other one. So obviously, if I wanted to go into her Instagram right now or her TikTok, I could use my fingerprint to do her password. I just don't feel the need to.
amazing, brother. So, brother, obviously, does she post photos of herself quite often on social media? Obviously, no, because the first few dudes out there that may want to DM her. Are you worried about that at all?
I'm not worried about that. No, but she does post photos of herself. They are, um, by Western standards, I would say, non-risky type photos. Right? They're not thirst traps or anything. She's a very nice looking woman. Um, but at the end of the day, um, it's not something that I necessarily worry about. Um, if if I was ruling with an iron fist, as someone believes down there, yeah, I would say, "Oh, delete your social media." Uh, you know, uh, why you have social media? We should have our own channel together. Shout out to Travis Hunter. Um, we, I mean, what are we doing here? If I can't trust you and you can't trust me, then why are we with each other? Right?
Mm, mm. Facts,
I mean,
bro. But
what are we doing here? Right? So, I mean, like, you guys, we got to think about what are we doing when you go to work, right? When we all have jobs, when you go to work, what are you doing? You got to know what you're doing, right? Because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get fired.
facts, facts, brother. But I'm assuming it's private, right? Her social media and yours as well.
Yeah, how did you know that? Yeah, both of
I
ours are
don't know.
private. Hers has been private. Yeah, hers
Awesome.
is private. Hers was private before mine, to be honest with you. Now, if you ask me what it means to be private, I don't know. I have no idea. But I made mine private some time ago. Like I said, I'm very rarely on Instagram to begin with. I have no idea what it means to be private.
Amazing. Good stuff, bro. Bro, this is amazing. Okay, brother. So last question here before I open up the phone lines. And brother, again, I'm working on your time. If you want to end the stream, let me know, bro. I'm working on your time, bro. Okay. Now, brother. So obviously, like another thing about being married is that okay, if your wife works or girlfriend works, right, she work in an environment where there's other people working there. And brother, not brother, I'm not saying it to you, but I'm just saying like from what I've seen in American culture, in English culture, cheating happens. There's this obviously work husband, work wife. That's why, but a lot of bros want to get to a point where they make a lot of money and keep the wife and girlfriend at home to be a housewife to avoid her being in a work environment where she can meet the wrong people. Cheating may happen, brother. So, are you worried about that at all, bro? Is she worried about you for you in regards to that as well, brother?
Well, she's a remote employee, so I don't necessarily worry about that, but I can speak hypothetically. I'm also semi-remote. I go into the office every now and then. I even though my wife's now awake, I'm she knows this. I live in the Atlanta area. Not technically, I'm not in the metro area per se. We live in what's called North Georgia. So I live in like the mountainous area of the state. Um, but I'm an hour from Atlanta. Okay, so the easiest way to put this is when it comes to the whole work wife and work husband thing. There's a lot of very attractive women in Atlanta.
Hmm.
Atlanta is known for this. If y'all like black women, Atlanta has a lot of extremely attractive black women. And you're hearing this from someone that's been to, at least in the US, 48 out of the 50 states. I've not been to Alaska and I've not been to Hawaii. And I've worked in these states, as I illustrated earlier, for considerable amounts of time. Considerable amounts of time. So that being said, if you're looking, for a Latina, maybe go to Miami, or Houston, where I'm originally from. If you're looking for a nice looking black woman, yeah, definitely go to Atlanta. You can also still go to Houston. If you're looking for all of the above, New York City, of course. New York has everything. But anyways, I'm digressing here. My wife doesn't worry about when I go to the office. I'm Muslim at the end of the day. She's a devout Orthodox Christian. She's, you know, very, very steadfast in her faith. Now, if that were to change, that would obviously be a concern, and alarm bells should obviously go off, guys. I mean, but you know, once again, if you got a woman saying those sorts of things, what are we doing here?
Facts, brother. Facts. Water. Those are all my questions, brother. Shall we open up the phone lines, or do you want to end the stream, brother? It's up to you. What do you want to do, bro? Phone lines, end the stream.
Do it. Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, brother. Okay. So if you have any guests, if you have any questions for our guests, call in. Okay, brothers. Phone lines are now open. Here we go. Here we go. Call in, and then let's have a great discussion here. Please be respectful. Any crazy talk, any weird questions, any SEX questions, it will be a ban. It will be a permanent ban. And I mean that.
Stay away from New York in the chat. That's funny.
Stay from New York. Stay from New York.
Because y'all hear me, but you're not listening. There's planes that land every day in New York City. Now, if you don't know where to look, that's not my problem.
I'm from New York, New York. I got 100 minutes down from New York. Remember that song, bro?
I do. And I'm telling you, someone that's been in New York many a times. I probably went there like 8 times just last year. You know, you can find all different kinds of women up there, women that don't even speak English up there. So don't give me that about I stay away from New York. You just don't know where to look.
Where do we look, bro? You know, to find foreign baddies in New York for passport bros.
Oh yeah, look. Anybody that's hunted, fished, right? I break it down. I'm a Texan. We're very simple people. You know, when you go fishing or you go hunting, you go to where there's not good prospects, or do you go to where there are good prospects? There's over 8 million people in New York City. So just by numbers alone, there's going to be fairly good prospects there. And I've already mentioned to you that planes land there every day. They land there every day, bringing in international students or people seeking to make it in the Big Apple, people looking to make a better life, make something of themselves, people that aren't westernized. Lots of them. So I don't know about y'all. I'll use the fishing analogy. If I'm going to go throw my line into the lake, I'm going to go throw it where there's a good opportunity for me to catch fish.
Amazing. Awesome, bro. Any callers call in? If you can't call in, hit your questions in the super chat or PayPal donation. Classic live stream. Hall of Fame rafter stream, bro. And I mean that.
Somebody asked, are Ethiopian women good or are they sassy? I did something like this earlier. They have a little spice to them. She'll tell you the same thing. They're opinionated. You know, they're not doormats. I don't know, something about the way that they're raised, in my opinion. I've never met one that I felt like was a pushover.
But is that feminism creeping in there? Because
no,
that's okay.
It's more so a certain level of a difference in respect that you need to come with when you're coming at an Ethiopian woman. They carry themselves with a very high degree of respectability and class. And so if, for instance, you know, you're coming at them, you know, incorrectly, like, hey, shawty, can I get your number? You know, and man, those cakes look bad on you. If you say something like that, you might get one of those responses like, what do you think I am? Some sort of whore? Now, if you call that sass, you call that sass. I don't know. She could easily just try to be polite about it or play it off. But to be very frank with you, I don't know about y'all. I like the woman that does that.
Wow, brother, avoid answering questions in the live stream chat. They go to call in, or they go hit the super chats because
No
it's
problem.
far too much, right? I'm doing streams that are 4 hours, 5 hours. No one super chats. No one hits any PayPal donations. They just take information. They don't support, and I'm tired of it, man. Because I've been putting in work for almost 10 years now, changing lives of brothers, teaching brothers IT, doing streams on literally almost every country on planet Earth, right? I just did Moldova what 3 hours ago.
I
No
heard it.
no support there. Right.
Mm.
So brothers, either you call in or your question won't get answered. I don't know what's going on here, but you're not supporting, you're just watching, taking in the information, and that's not good. Right? If you're it's like you're taking and not giving back and not supporting, bruv. And I'm here at 4:45 a.m. in the UK time. 4:45 a.m., bro. Okay, I've been streaming for 7 hours straight, 8 hours straight, and you want to get your questions answered without any support or calling in? Not on this channel. No. So don't even bother writing your question in the chat. It won't get answered anymore. Okay.
Yeah, y'all told
So, brother, want to say thank you very much, Water. I wish you and your wife all the success in your marriage. May it last forever. May you have wonderful, healthy kids. May
thank
you
you.
grow in your wealth and riches and success and prosperity. I have one last question. Where do you see yourself and your wife in 5 years' time?
Oh, what an excellent question. We should have a second property. We should have our first child. She should be completely done with school. I should be further along in my career, probably up another level or two. Um, I will probably be I'm working on and I'm currently almost done with one of an additional certification. So definitely there'll be some continuing education involved. Um, and we'll continue to make our house more of a home and support and care for each other and grow together.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Really for you there. Water, thank you very much, bro. Do you have any closing statements before I end the stream?
I just want to see us men win. And in order for us to win, we need to come correct, stop all this simping crap, and really do our homework on the prey that we're trying to pursue. And I'm sorry to refer to women as prey. I'm not saying this in a I'm not giving out this additional explanation as um, a politically correct way of redressing the statement. I mean, look, we're hunters at the end of the day. It's one of the things that makes us men. We need to go out there and understand what we're looking for out there in the wild and come prepared and correct to get it. And that involves your mental, your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual. So come on, guys. We can all do it. We got it.
Yes, indeed, bro. Yes, indeed. This is definitely an inspiring stream. I think it's definitely inspired brothers to start making moves, right? Start making these moves to find wifey, to build yourselves up career wise, and start thinking this year is my year. We're 12 years, we're 12 days in 2025. Time waits for no man. Okay? It doesn't. It really doesn't. Right before you know it, you're in 2030. Before you know it, you're in 2035. No, I'm serious, bro. Like, brothers who have taken my uh courses last year, not getting their jobs this year on Q4 2024, because they see the process, right? My dad always tells me, right, IP, there's no shortcut in life. Okay? Life is a marathon, it's not a race. And that's something that's always been with me ever since he told me that. It's always been in my head. Everything's a process. Everything here is a procedure, and you have to work towards it, right? So, what are you working towards this year? Well, you can work towards, things like getting wifey, getting your girlfriend, IT certs, iPhone course, field cloud course, and work towards that. Shout out to Javon for the PayPal support. Appreciate you, bro. Okay. And shout out to the brother, Mr. Nurhayat81 for the support. Thank you to our guests for this incredible live stream. To all who are watching. And I will see you all on the next live stream. The Naughty American Expat, reach out to me on IG, please. Joe Blow, reach out to me on IG as well, okay? Much appreciated.
Great interview, and thank everybody for y'all support, and definitely a worthy cause, IP, you got going on here.
Salute to you, Walter. Hope to see you very soon in the future, brother. And again, we'll keep in touch, okay?
Yes, y'all take care.
Peace out, bro. Have a good